60%. Chapter 301 The Destroyer Fleet is destroyed. David wakes up. In the live broadcast room, the people of various countries fell into a heated debate over whether to kill Qin Tian or not. In a villa in Zhongzhou City, Mu Ningxie looked at the image in the live broadcast room and tightly held her jade hand. She could see confidence and composure from her man's handsome face. So she was sure that Qin Tian must have left behind. But the worry in my heart is that I can't rest assured. Husband, you must be safe. Mu Ningxie prayed secretly in her heart. And at this moment, Qin Tian is paying close attention to the plane map. After seeing that all the carrier-based fighter jets fell on the 2 aircraft carriers, he immediately issued an order to Yao Lang. Notify everyone, make the highest battle preparations. Chen, charge me to the position of the enemy's fleet, I will fight hard. Yes, press. Hearing that Qin Tian was about to launch an all-out attack, Yao Ming and the others immediately responded with 823, without the slightest fear. Then they all got busy with their duties. Wei Chen turned the steering wheel. Let the Nemesis sail towards the Cyrillic fleet at a distance of 40 kilometers. On the other hand, Yao Lang and Ma Fei directly activated all shipboard weapon systems. Then he pressed the fire control button hard. Boom, boom, boom. All the naval guns, rocket launchers and anti-ship missiles that were still on standby were activated at the same time. But anything that can reach the enemy. They all began to roar towards the target with flames and smoke. Zula and the others used the radio to tell everyone that the warship had entered the highest combat alert. Da da da. Boom, boom, boom. Seeing Qin Tian's warships charging towards their fleet unexpectedly. The remaining cruisers, destroyers and frigates of the Cyril fleet. But anyone with anti-ship missiles in their hands also threw out the anti-ship missiles. But even so, a total of more than 600 anti-ship missiles were fired. 99% of them were swept away by the mythical Y-1130 close-in anti-aircraft guns. Only dozens of anti-ship missiles, rumbling, exploded on the deck. There were clusters of flames flickering. It's just because of the limited quality of these missiles. Dozens of them added up to destroy 700 or 800 of the Nemesis' blood. But the damage of 700 or 800 is nothing to the Nemesis. Because just now, Rui, who had a flash of brain, quickly controlled the Genesis-class dual 57mm naval guns when the anti-ship missiles entered a distance of 10,000 meters. Soon, several anti-ship missiles exploded. And because of that, his talent actually determined that he had entered combat mode. It directly boosted the Nemesis' blood volume by more than 6,000. Pull the blood volume of the Nemesis to 12,000 directly. Qin Tian was overjoyed when he saw this. In my heart, I gave Rui a thumbs up. If in the next few minutes, Rui was able to increase the blood volume of the Nemesis with this hand, then he doesn't have to think about using the shield in his hand to restore the scroll. It's just that he just finished thinking about it here. Outside, dozens of shells were fired one after another on the hull, deck and sea surface of the Nemesis. Although most of them were shot in the seawater, splashed into the sky, but there were still 4 or 5 shells exploding on the deck and hull. The blood volume of the Nemesis, which was finally raised to 12,000, was directly cut to more than 11,000. David Cyril sat on the bridge seat. Listening to the report of his subordinates, he couldn't help laughing. Hee, Qin Tian, it seems that you really have nowhere to go, and you actually dragged a bloody battleship towards me. Do you want to die with me? It's a pity that I won't let you get your wish. Slow down, and keep a distance of 40 kilometers away from the opponent. David said to his helmsman. He knew that Qin Tian had the talent of must-hit that could shoot 3 times in a row. Several high-level warships of the Manston family died in Qin Tian's hands in this way. That's why he gave such an order to his helmsman after launching the shelling with extra care. And heard the words of his own captain. Nor does the helmsman drag. Downshift immediately. The speed of the David battleship immediately slowed down. Then they distanced themselves from Qin Tian's Nemesis. And Qin Tian watched his warship being attacked by naval guns at such a long distance. And was hit several times. I also felt upset in my heart. Can hit this far. Needless to say, it must be the battleship in the middle of Cyril's fleet. What the hell? Before, he couldn't hit the other party, so he didn't bother to talk to the other party. But I didn't expect that the other party would dare to push his nose on his face. It was not easy for Rui to restore blood in the early 6000s to the Nemesis. In this way, more than 700 people were killed. It's absolutely perfect. Qin Tian watched Yao Lang and Ma Fei concentrating on controlling the fire control system of the battleship. For a while, I didn't want them to delay the battle because of finding the other party's coordinates. So his heart moved. Simply regard the position of the opponent's battleship as the endpoint of the coordinates on the flat map. Then tentatively navigated. He didn't have much hope at first. But who knows the moment he finishes navigating. Immediately, a long green guide arrow ahead appeared in front of his eyes. On the side, it shows the nautical mileage of 22.321. Converting this distance into kilometers is just over 41 kilometers. Completely out of range of the nemesis. After reading this distance, Qin Tian laughed out of anger for a moment. Good guy. This is just running away after the fight. Which grandson does this battleship belong to? Such a jerk. It's not the grandson of David Cyril, is it? After Qin Tian muttered secretly in his heart, he didn't bother to care about the other party anymore. The most important thing now is to get rid of those destroyers. For a while, the naval guns roared. Wave after wave of rockets and anti-ship missiles covered the Cyril fleet as if they were free of money. Less than 2 minutes, the opponent lost a lot of destroyers and warships. At this time, the second wave of anti-ship missile rain also struck again. Relying on this wave of anti-ship missiles, Rui successfully brought the Nemesis SHP back to 17,000. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing when he saw this scene. Look at it this way. Then wait until he is close to the opponent's fleet by 20,000 meters. Is it possible that the blood volume of the Nemesis can increase back to more than 20,000? At that time, the 3.7 precious shield recovery scrolls naturally don't need to be wasted on such a small scene. As the Nemesis is fully fired, it continues to advance. David finally realized what a saturated blow is. He showed exactly the same expression of horror and shock as that of the top management of the Manston family. Especially after Qin Tian installed those anti-ship missiles of Nangongal. The lethality is simply appalling. There were still 120 or 30 destroyers in less than 3 to 5 minutes. 20 or 30 ships were sunk. So far, the Sorel family originally had a destroyer fleet of more than 1,000 destroyers. It was completely sunk by Qin Tian to double digits by exhausting all means. And this number is still decreasing. At this moment, David vaguely seemed to think of something. The expression on his face suddenly became a little stunned and dull. 60%. Chapter 302 Sinking Qin Tian, the family will upgrade you to a battleship and reward millions of supplies. Fuck. Have you overlooked, or missed something? How does this feel without the threat of destroyers? Qin Tian let go immediately. The originally restrained style of play suddenly became so unscrupulous. Damn it. What's up with those fighter jets? Why haven't you moved yet? Is Brand a pig brain? Can't you see that the front line is already in dire straits? The angry David was full of thoughts at the moment. Then he opened the private chat interface. Find Brand's portrait. Immediately sent a message to his relative. Brand, what's the matter with you? Can't you see that the front line is tight? Hurry up and send fighter jets to support. And the other party quickly replied to him. But David, we haven't resurrected all of our fighter planes yet. In this way, the next time we resurrect more fighter planes, the supplies we need will increase exponentially. Look at the message sent by the other party. After David hesitated for a moment, he sent a message a little irritably. I can't take care of that much anymore. Qin Tian has already started slaughtering our fleet. If this continues, I'm afraid we will follow in the footsteps of the Manston family, so what if we have more resources in hand? No 06 is it cheaper than that Yanlong man? Maybe he was intimidated by his message. Immediately after that, fighter planes were dispatched again. Soon, the roar of fighter planes piercing the sky came from the end of the sky. Aboard the Nemesis, after Yao Lang glanced at the number of fighters on the radar, he said to Qin Tian. Captain, the other party rested for 6 minutes this time, but only 77 fighter planes came. Is there any connection between this? Qin Tian also said thoughtfully when he heard the words. There must be tricks, the answer should be on the other party's aircraft carrier, let's ignore them for now, there are Rui and ship-to-air missiles to guard against, we don't have to worry about anything, just work harder, after killing the remaining destroyers and cruisers, we will go to each other's islands to see what is going on with these 2 aircraft carriers. Yes, Captain, Yao Lang responded when he heard the words. Then they controlled the anti-ship missiles and continued to attack those destroyers. And Rui is just like what Qin Tian said. When the fighter above the head almost entered the firing range. Immediately control the naval gun and fire to stimulate your own characteristics. The blood volume directly increased. And maybe it is because the battle situation below is really not optimistic. This time, after launching a wave of missiles and destroying more than 16,000 blood from the Nemesis. 26 fighters were destroyed, and the remaining 5,000 fighters did not return to rest as usual. Instead, it made a big circle in the sky. Wait until the missile launch cools down. The fighter group turned their heads and continued to launch the second round of missiles towards Qin Tian's battleship. But at this moment, the naval gun controlled by Rui also began to fight back. In an instant, the blood volume of the battleship was brought back to more than 18,000. Have to say, after approaching the post-Cyril fleet, the naval guns of some enemy destroyers and cruisers focused their fire, and the hits were quite painful. And the remaining 51 fighter jets dealt more than 10,000 damage and dropped the wreckage of 27 fighter jets that exploded in the air. The commander of the fighter group saw that Qin Tian's blood volume was only 7 or 8,000, and was still being scraped down, so he originally wanted to dive down and launch another attack with machine guns. The opponent's blood volume has almost dropped below the dangerous line. Just launch an intensive attack. Maybe one of them can trigger the effects of detonation and sinking. However, considering the captain's repeated orders not to allow fighter jets to approach the enemy battleship within 15,000 meters of the order. After all, he chose to obey the order and gave up this tempting idea. Leading the more than 20 surviving fighter jets sparsely, they walked in the direction of their own aircraft carrier helplessly. And with the end of this wave of air strikes, the head of the Qin Tian Nemesis also appeared at the end of the sea level with the remaining 6,000 or 7,000 health bars on top of her head. At this time, the distance between the two sides was almost 20 kilometers. They can also see each other. After discovering that the blood volume of the Qin Tian battleship was only 6,000 or 7,000. The chosen ones of the Cyril family, who had already been frightened by Qin Tian's artillery fire, became agitated at this moment. Al, you use a loudspeaker to tell those men that whoever can sink the Qin Tian battleship, the Cyril family, will directly help him break through the battleship to a battleship, and then reward millions of materials. David, who was 40 kilometers away, also noticed Qin Tian's blood volume with radar imaging. Although very excited, but after considering Qin Tian's abnormal attack power of must hit 3 times in a row, he still gave up the idea of getting within 40 kilometers to do it himself. Instead, he sent a message to his confidants in the fleet. As the commander-in-chief of a family fleet, he naturally understands the truth that, under a great reward there must be a brave man. And his confidant Al, who received his order, after seeing this reward, he couldn't help but feel a little jealous. Breathing becomes heavy. It seems that our commander was really stimulated by Qin Tian. You know, even if it is his confidant. It was also not long ago that after 2 years of hard work, he was rewarded with supplies. Raise destroyer to large cruiser. And right now, as long as this Yanlong People's Silk Blood battleship is sunk, the family will actually help upgrade the battleship into a battleship. Naturally, he didn't want to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Thinking of this, he immediately shouted through a loudspeaker. Brothers, the commander-in-chief has spoken. As long as anyone can sink Qin Tian, the family will directly help him break through the battleship to a battleship, and reward him with millions of supplies. It's up to you whether you can seize this opportunity to soar into the sky. Own. With his voice spread around, the eyes of thousands of Cyril family's chosen ones couldn't help but turn blue. Hiss, 380 battleships, millions of supplies, those who are on horseback, done. Yes, that Yanlong man is powerful, but his battleship only has more than 6,000 blood left. This is our great opportunity. FK, go, FK it. For battleships, for millions of supplies. Just for a moment, the excited Cyril family fleets all turned red and rushed towards Qin Tian's battleship with all their horsepower. Wealth are sought in insurance. They risked it all. All kinds of naval artillery shells, anti-ship missiles, rockets and so on. As long as it is within reach. They went madly to greet Qin Tian. I can't wait to directly play a martyrdom or sinking effect. After seeing so many attacks, Qin Tian's heart also instantly raised his throat. Because he didn't realize it until then. His blood volume of more than 6,000 is already in danger. If you suffer from such intensive attacks, pointed backs or hit with a martyrdom or sinking effect, then even if he has great abilities, he will have no way to turn around. Although very reluctant, Hemian is waiting for the characteristics of the end to take effect. But at this critical juncture, Qin Tian still decided to use this scroll. It's just when he was going to use the shield in his hand to restore the scroll. There was a dull sound of gunfire outside, but it rang out one after another. The blood volume of the goddess of Nemesis, which had only been left in the early 6000, suddenly returned to 12,000. 60%. Chapter 303 The situation of the battle changes suddenly. Use the aircraft carrier as bait. Call. See this scene. The big stone in Qin Tian's heart immediately fell back into his stomach. So timely. If Rui made this move a little later in the evening, he was about to use that scroll. And now, he can save it to deal with the next crisis. Qin Tian happily folded up the scrolls in his hand and put them in his pocket. Then he settled down and started to use the must-hit talent to clean up those cruisers in the enemy fleet. With Rui's blood recovery characteristics, coupled with the Nemesis's 3000 defense power as support, Qin Tian immediately stopped worrying about the HP of his warship. And Rui's shot suddenly. It also caused the thousands of Cyril family's chosen ones on the opposite side to completely fall into despair. Originally, they still dreamed of defeating Qin Tian, marrying a battleship, and reaching the pinnacle of life. But who knows that after a burst of intensive artillery fire from the other side, the blood bar of the battleship with the painting of Goddess of Nemesis suddenly increased a little. Immediately afterwards, the three huge main naval guns also began to turn slowly. In the eyes of all, the absolute confidant of their commander-in-chief, the large cruiser of Lord Al was directly emptied of health by more than 20 shells. There was a violent explosion. This time, the morale that had just been raised by the Cyril family fleet collapsed in an instant. People started to slow down, no longer charge forward. And the next time, under Rui's attack, the Nemesis blood volume recovers more than 6,000 blood every 30 seconds. After Rui killed 2 destroyers, the blood volume of the Nemesis has completely returned to its peak state. A classic scene from the Battle of Manston's Island is reproduced. The situation of a single warship brutalizing thousands of warships on the opposite side. And far away, David Sorrell, who saw this scene with the radar imaging function, was immediately dumbfounded. Originally, he was still full of expectations and pride. He thought that Qin Tian, the chosen one of the Yanlong Empire known as World of Warships, would completely end in his hands today. But he never thought that the reversal of the battle situation would be so swift and sudden. Qin Tian, whose health had bottomed out in the last second, recovered in the blink of an eye. Then he opened fire in his family's fleet, sweeping away all the ocean-going warships and destroyers in the fleet. It's over, he muttered to himself, pale and bitter. The foundation and wealth accumulated by the Cyril family spent nearly 2 years in World of Warships. Just like that, it was ruined once. Escape. That was the only thought on his mind right now. As long as there is no accident between myself and the Phoenix aircraft carrier. So a comeback is a matter of time. Right. As long as you don't die, there is still hope for everything. Think here. Immediately he made the helmsman begin the U-turn. Return to your home island. And he sent messages to his 2 relatives at the same time. Let them send people to the island. Load all the supplies that can be loaded onto the ship. And on board the Nemesis in the middle of the battlefield. Qin Tian, who has been observing the movement of the battleship and the 2 aircraft carriers with a flat map, seeing that the battleship was about to turn around and sail towards the island of Cyril. And the 2 aircraft carriers also slowly began to approach the island. Qin Tian immediately knew what the other party was planning. This is trying to get away with money. How can I let them do what they want? So Qin Tian immediately issued an order to several people. Achin, sail at full speed in the direction of 11 o'clock. Alang and Ma Fei, the attack targets are limited to destroyers and cruisers, and the rest are ignored. As his voice fell, Yao Ming and the others agreed in unison. Then slightly adjusted the forward angle of the Nemesis. The entire battleship sailed towards 11 o'clock with full power. And none of the chosen ones of the Cyril family who had been terrified around them dared to go up and stop them. See where Qin Tian's Nemesis sails. They gave up the middle position in a panic. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. The Nemesis passed through the fleet and battleships of the Cyril family. Then he quickly chased after David Cyril's battleship. After being informed of the situation by the crew, David panicked immediately, while urging the helmsman to hurry up again. While sending a message to Brand, uncle, don't worry about the supplies on the island anymore. That damned Qin Tian is catching up. Hurry up and activate the Phoenix aircraft carrier to meet me at 10 o'clock 10 nautical miles away. I will let Basil Uncle drive leading his aircraft carrier away from Qin Tian's. And with his message sent out, not long after, Qin Tian found that the two aircraft carriers around the island began to move one after the other. It's just that Qin Tian was a little puzzled. The aircraft carrier in the same direction as the battleship suspected to be controlled by David Sorrell in front was actually the aircraft carrier with only 4 fighter jets on the deck. There are 20 or 30 carrier-based fighter jets on that deck. The aircraft carrier, which is obviously more powerful in combat capabilities, ran in the other direction alone. See this scene. Qin Tian was really stunned by this strange scene on the flat map. Did I guess wrong before? David Sorrell is not the battleship in front, but the aircraft carrier that produced many fighter jets. But it shouldn't be. Shouldn't the other party wait for the god-level treasure island to open, the country's double-attribute aircraft carrier? Forget it. Thinking so much is just blind thinking. Just ask directly. Think here. Qin Tian directly opened Zhang Zongjun's private chat interface. Then send a message. General Zhang, please help me find out who is currently controlling the 2 aircraft carriers and 1 battleship of the Sorrell family. Okay, no problem. There was a quick reply there. After about 2 or 3 minutes, Zhang Zongjun sent a message. I have made it clear that the battleship you are chasing now is David Zhao Hao Sorrell, the commander-in-chief of the Sorrell family. It is his uncle Brand who is going to join him. The ship left alone, with the aircraft carrier with multiple fighter jets was driven by his distant uncle Clifford. I saw this message from Zhang Zongjun. Qin Tian thought for a while in his mind. There is a conclusion in my heart. Does this need to be said? This is obviously the sacrifice of the aircraft carrier with stronger combat capabilities as a bait. So here comes the problem. What happened to the aircraft carrier that joined David? Why is it capable of resurrecting fighter jets and pilots? Shook his head. Put these irrelevant thoughts aside for a moment. Qin Tian immediately sent a message to Zhang Zongjun. Okay, General Zhang, thank you very much. There is almost a second reply to the message channel. It's a little effort, but Xiao Qin, the gods who came and said that the aircraft carrier that is going to join David may be a bit unusual, so you should pay more attention then. Why? 60%. Chapter 304 For the family, I must live. Looking at the message sent by Zhang Zongjun, Qin Tian replied with a faint smile. Understood, don't worry. Immediately, he looked at Wei Chen and said, Chen, follow the battleship in front of me closely. Then he looked at Yao Lang again and said, Lang, once the radar shows that the opponent is within range, I will call him with full firepower. Okay, Captain. Yao Lang and Wei Chen nodded upon hearing this. His eyes were fixed on the screen in front of him. The opponent's battleship was about 31 knots. So right now the distance between them is slowly shrinking. Originally, the other party had lost a lot of time when they started to turn around, and the speed was 2 knots less than theirs. Now the distance between them is probably a little over 43 kilometers. Damn it, why are you chasing me? On the bridge of the battleship ahead. After learning that Qin Tian's nemesis was following them closely, they turned around. David couldn't sit still immediately. Oh, Xie Te, did the damned Yanlong already know that this battleship is mine? He frowned and quickly thought about countermeasures. A few seconds passed. His eyes lit up suddenly, and he directly sent 933 to another Uncle Clifford. Clifford Uncle, please send fighter jets to launch a wave of attacks on this Qin Tian again, as long as you can delay him a little bit. However, after waiting for a few seconds, nothing happened. He looked at his radar observer and asked, have the fighter jets on the Clifford aircraft carrier departed? Not yet, Captain. The crew member in charge of radar observation shook his head and said. Fack, hear this answer. How could David not know what was going on? Obviously, the other party is taking revenge on him in Chiguo. He should have guessed that he was betrayed by his distant nephew as a bait. So in the face of his request for help, he became indifferent. Shit, David Sorrell wants to jump in anger. This damn Yanlong man. Why do you have to go after him? Wouldn't it be nice to have such a large aircraft carrier full of fighter jets? Yarn good for chasing his battered battleship. David complained frantically in his heart. But luckily he's about to join his brand uncle AGBJ. I hope that the 4 fighters can help them resist for a while. Think here. He immediately sent another message to his brand uncle. Uncle, quickly use your 4 fighter jets to help me stop that Qin Tian, that guy is so friendly. Okay, leave it to me. Although he became the commander-in-chief of the Sorrell family in World of Warships, David's character was somewhat rebellious and disrespectful. But fortunately his pro-uncle didn't disappoint him this time. Soon the 4 fighter jets quickly flew in his direction. Shish. It's just that before the 4 fighter jets flew a few kilometers above his battleship. A dozen ship-to-air missiles have already flown over from Qintian's battleship. Then there was an explosion that hit the target. The 4 fighter jets exploded behind his battleship one after another. David's heart sank when he saw it. Fuck. The other party is too close to him. If it's another 10 kilometers or so, wouldn't it be possible to carry out a saturated attack on him directly? And just when he was in a hurry, he didn't know what to do with the ants on the hot pot. The radar observer under him suddenly said, "Captain, the USS Brand is on our right side, and there are still 5 kilometers away from our meeting point." Hear the words of the crew. The light in David's eyes suddenly flickered. Then he said to his helmsman, "When the time comes, there is no need to slow down when passing the meeting point, just rush over." He knew his order. It is equivalent to deciding the next fate of his dear uncle. Although I know it's a bit cruel and selfish to do so. But in order to survive, in the future, he will be able to obtain the opportunity of the double-attribute aircraft carrier on the God-level treasure island. Keep a trace of fire for the family to grow. He could only do so with pain and tears in his eyes. And in this world, in the meeting room of the Cyril family estate in the Lighthouse Empire. After several people watched what happened in the live broadcast room, their faces all changed. "Fark, Edmund, this is the good son you have taught. What the hell is David trying to do? To split our Cyril family? Damn it, Edmund, you have to give us an explanation. If your son does this, who will dare to cooperate with our Cyril family in the future?" Edmund, who was mobbed and attacked, was an old man in his 50s with a bushy beard and a battleship mark on his forehead. Facing the collective denunciation of family members. After a moment of silence, he said, "I know that everyone is ashamed of David's behavior and thinks he is selfish, but everyone turns their heads and think about it, in that case. Which decision did David make that was not the best? Being chased by that damned Qin Tian to keep Brand's Phoenix aircraft carrier is the best choice for the family's future." So he pushed Clifford, who seemed to have the highest combat power, but his actual strength had been damaged by half, as a bait, which was the easiest way to attract Qin Tian's attention. And when one of his battleships merges with Brand's aircraft carrier, even Qin Tian will have to be a bit wary. Quote, "Under normal circumstances, people will choose the option with greater actual benefits and less risk. Why? However, who would have known that Qin Tian didn't play cards according to common sense, but chose David and the others, who have a battleship and an aircraft carrier, and this defeated all David's previous plans." 17. As for the current Brand matter, I can also understand David's choice. At the beginning, we spent a huge amount of materials to buy the coordinates of the God-level treasure island from the Lot family. Now seeing that the time is coming soon, and because of Qin Tian, Brand and Clifford's battleships have all broken through to become aircraft carriers. If David sacrifices again, then our Cyril family will spend a lot of money to pay. Wouldn't the coordinates bought by the Lot family be in vain? Is it possible to watch the Lotter family sell the treasure island that should belong to us to others? I heard Edmund's analysis of these things from the beginning to the end. All the people present were silent. They know what the other is telling the truth. It can only be said that they were unlucky, and they happened to be picked by that Qin Tian at the last moment. But now the family's reputation has plummeted because of his son's behavior. In any case, this mistake needs someone to stand up and give an explanation to the people below. Especially some of the guys on Clifford's side. Compensation is inevitable. 60%. Chapter 305 Phoenix's top auxiliary aircraft carrier. Edmund naturally knew what the high-level family members were thinking. For my own son, he voluntarily bowed his head and said, "Of course, a mistake is a mistake, and no amount of reasons can cover up the fact that David made a mistake, so I am willing to resign from the position of the general manager of the family, and pay for Clifford's. I believe they can understand David's helpless behavior." I heard their patriarch Edmund say so. Then the rest of the people can't say anything. Nodding his head is considered to have revealed the matter. And in World of Warships, at this time, David has completely ignored what is going on in this world. After another 10 minutes of sailing, he finally reached the meeting point that he had agreed with Brand in advance. It's just that he looked at the Phoenix aircraft carrier that was slowly sailing not far away. Distress, reluctance and guilt flashed in his eyes. Although my heart is full of regret. But to survive. He still ordered the helmsman to directly control the battleship, and let the battleship sail quickly past the meeting point without slowing down at all. He can be sure. Only by sacrificing his uncle's Phoenix carrier can he most directly and effectively stop Qin Tian from chasing him. Because he knows, with the Phoenix aircraft carrier, it should not reach a speed of 30 knots. 100% can't outrun Qin Tian's battleship. Only when he walked out of the control room. Standing on the ship tower, I felt guilty and turned my head to look at it. He froze all of a sudden. I saw Brand after discovering his intentions. He didn't let the Phoenix aircraft carrier escape with him. Instead, they made a slight circle after reaching the meeting point. He took the initiative to meet Qin Tian's battleship. See this scene. David's heart ached as if he had been severely beaten by something. Then he turned back to the control room with his eyes red. Suppressed not to let his tears fall. And Qin Tian will not care about their tricks. Keeping his eyes on the plane map, he soon discovered that the aircraft carrier did not leave with David's battleship when it was about to rendezvous. Instead, it turned a little bit. Came straight to him. This made Qin Tian feel interested immediately. Captain, an aircraft carrier of the other side is charging straight at us, what should we do? Yao Lang looked at Qin Tian and asked. What? An aircraft carrier is rushing towards us. Didn't it want to hit us? Ma Fei said in astonishment beside him. It doesn't matter, let him love you. After Qin Tian finished speaking, he turned to Wei Chen and said, Ah Chen, charge directly there, and keep a distance from the opponent when we are still 10 kilometers away. I want to see what the opponent can do to us. Qin Tian said lightly. Yes, Captain, Wei Chen responded. Then continue sailing at an undiminished speed. The distance between the two sides soon approached 10 kilometers. They can already see each other clearly. Qin Tian looked at this aircraft carrier that made him curious all the way. With a thought, just a divine detective technique, and threw it away. Name, Phoenix Small Auxiliary Aircraft Carrier. Displacement, 47,100 tons. ER 243.8 times 30 times 7.2. Flight deck M 219.5 times 29. Carrier aircraft, 068. Health volume, 45,500. 3864-4563. Defense, 2,100. Fire control system, power system, HJ, SJ3 steam turbine times 6. Speed, 29 knots. Weapon system, Dark Shark type 34,381 mm naval gun purple times 4, 20 mm close and anti-aircraft gun blue times 24. Fire control radar, radar system, characteristics. Immortality. After applying immortality to the attack aircraft carrier, all carrier-based aircraft and pilots on the attack aircraft carrier can be resurrected within 1 hour. Note: the first resurrection is free every day. The more times and quantities of resurrection, the more needed, the more materials you have. You can only revive fighters of the 3rd generation and below. The cooling time is 10 minutes. Introduction. A top-level auxiliary aircraft carrier with immortality, which can add immortality to attack aircraft carriers within a short distance. When seeing this properties panel, Qin Tian's eyes widened immediately. No wonder the opponent's fighter jets couldn't finish fighting. On the contrary, they fought more and more. It turns out that there is such a hard work. God damn it. This is too top. With this aircraft carrier as an auxiliary. Doesn't that mean that after his nemesis aircraft carrier is built? Is it equivalent to having a steady stream of fighter jet formations? Bull batch. 0. Ask for flowers. Qin Tian's eyes were about to burst into blue light. You must know that his nemesis aircraft carrier has double decks. At that time, at least 150 or 60 fighter jets and a dozen helicopters can be obtained. Then every carrier-based aircraft has the property of immortality. Hiss. Qin Tian was so excited that he didn't dare to think about it anymore. Especially he also has Rui, an ace mechanic who is invincible and invincible. Plus a buff blessing that is not afraid of death. Qin Tian wanted to mourn the opponent's enemy for several minutes. But the only troublesome thing about this feature is that it can only revive the 3rd generation. The strength of the 3rd generation fighters is definitely not comparable to that of the 5th generation or even 4th generation fighters. I don't know if this aircraft carrier can be strengthened after it is captured. Is it possible to increase the level of the revived fighter after being strengthened? Boom boom boom. And just when Qin Tian was lost in thought, the Phoenix aircraft carrier on the opposite side opened fire on his battleship. See this scene. Qin Tian laughed immediately. It seems that the chosen one of the Cyril family who is in charge of this aircraft carrier came here specially to delay his progress, and he didn't want him to chase and kill David Cyril. The other party is quite loyal. But the other party probably never dreamed of it. The reason why I chased after David Cyril was not letting go. It is to capture this aircraft carrier with special capabilities. Unexpectedly, it was wrongly hit. The other party even took the initiative to deliver it to the door. Captain, are we going to fight back? But Yao Lang saw that Qin Tian hadn't issued an attack order for a long time. Asked curiously for a while. There's no need to fight back, Chen, just turn around in the direction of the opponent's island, there's nothing else you need to do. Yes, Captain, we promise to complete the mission. Wei Chen nodded confidently upon hearing this. It's too easy. And Qin Tian finished giving orders. He opened the door of the control room and walked out. Captain Li, come down with me. Qin Tian greeted. Gathered Li Yao, her two younger brothers, Rui, Yan Jian, and Gao Goliang. Li Yao stood in front of Qin Tian. While stroking his mythical M4 carbine XM320 grenade launcher fondly, he looked around at all the combatants around. She said with bright eyes, Captain, are we going to prepare for a gang jumping operation? 61%. Chapter 306 Jumping to Fight, I want that Phoenix aircraft carrier. Qin Tian looked at the Phoenix aircraft carrier that was getting closer and closer in the distance. Then he looked at the crowd and said very seriously, Yes, I will give you a very important task next. Understand, it is very important and must be completed. See, Qin Tian said so seriously and earnestly. Li Yao couldn't help but put away her smile. I saw Qin Tian pointing to the Phoenix aircraft carrier not far away and said, That aircraft carrier is very important to our future. I want you to kill everyone on it, then attack the control room and capture it for me. Come over. As soon as I heard the content of this task, everyone was immediately excited. If I go, I want to seize the aircraft carrier. Is your captain finally planning to expand the size of the fleet? And the first battleship incorporated was actually an aircraft carrier. Thinking of this, a group of people embraced their firearms with enthusiasm, stood at attention with their heads held high, and, 063, stood upright and said loudly, Captain, don't worry, I promise to complete the mission. And here is who is most excited. Of course it was Rui without a doubt. He himself is an ace mechanic who focuses on manipulation. In the Chengxing Empire, they were the fighters who controlled the mech battles. After being fooled by Qin Tian, a big fool. Every day, I can only nestle on the double 57mm naval gun to relieve my boredom and sorrow. If you can take down the opposite aircraft carrier, then he can drive a fighter jet and gallop on the battlefield to his heart's content again. Okay, then the only problem now is how to send you there. Qin Tian saw that they were all eager to try and confident. Immediately took out the rope hook that everyone hooked the material bucket together before. Captain, you and I thought about going together. Don't worry, we are already very proficient with this rope hook, and everyone has undergone physical strengthening, there was no problem at all in the past. Li Yao said confidently to Qin Tian. What about you? If you feel that you can't grasp it, you can stay first. Qin Tian looked at several other people and said. After all, jumping into battle is tantamount to losing the protection of the battleship's ability to avoid injuries. Although it has been strengthened several times with king-level sea beast meat. But if the opponent has too strong thermal weapons, if they don't get it right, they are still prone to casualties. Certainly, in the gang battle, the opponent's crew will also lose the protection of the battleship against damage. But after all, it is more with less. He doesn't want any of these high-quality crew members to be attrition. This time, if it weren't for the characteristics of this Phoenix aircraft carrier, it would be too good. Nor would he take the risk. Captain, we have no problem. And faced with Qin Tian's doubts, how can a group of male combat crews bear it? Immediately, all of them replied angrily. Qin Tian. Well, if this is the case, when the battleship intersects with the opponent's island, you should find a good time to act. Seeing that they are so confident in their answers, Qin Tian didn't say anything more, so as not to hit their self-confidence and cause their loyalty to decline. In the end, he could only bless with a serious face, I'm waiting for your flag to win. And in this world, facing the content of this live broadcast, everyone was shocked. My God, after a long time, God Qin's ultimate goal turned out to be this aircraft carrier. Oh, shit, this is really too much. If David Sorrell knows about this, how can he behave? PFF'd. Ha ha ha, Qin Shen is really too dark to use this method to scare people. You know a lot of wool, this is called throwing bricks to attract jade. Since Qin Shen attaches so much importance to this aircraft carrier, the phenomenon of more and more fighter jets of the Sorel family before is probably related to this aircraft carrier. You see, once Qin Shen played this way, the effect was immediately extraordinary, and the opponent's aircraft carrier ran out by himself and threw himself into the trap. Oh my god, I can already imagine the expressions of the people of the Sorel family. And the truth is exactly what they say. Several senior members of the Sorel family are now pale with anger. They originally thought that Qin Tian wanted to kill them all. But it never occurred to him that Qin Tian had been chasing David to lure out Brand's Phoenix aircraft carrier. Although they are not very clear about the auxiliary capabilities of Phoenix aircraft carrier. But you can see the whole leopard at a glance. Judging from today's performance. That is definitely a super auxiliary carrier that can make an aircraft carrier no longer have to worry about carrier fighters. With it, the fighter jets and pilots who have obviously died in battle are resurrected time and time again. Although the consumption of materials is indeed a bit large. But compared to the victory of a battle, which is lighter and which is heavier? Of course it goes without saying. Damn it, this Yanlong man is really too cunning, he actually has the idea of the Brand aircraft carrier. No, he must not be allowed to succeed. The significance of the Phoenix aircraft carrier is too great. Let the god-fated one go in and inform Brand as soon as possible. It was too late. That Qin Tian burst out with this idea at the last moment. He made it clear that he had calculated everything, and probably before our god-favored one entered, his battle crew had already started to jump gang battles. Quote. Then what should we do? Could it be that we just watch? Now we can only hope for the crew on the Brand aircraft carrier, and hope that the thermal weapons in their hands can play a role. And just when everyone was talking about it, Qin Tian sighed. The battleship Nemesis finally started to pass by Brand's aircraft carrier Phoenix at a distance of 50 meters. Okay, let's go. Not as Qin Tian expected. The first to attack was indeed Li Yao, a heroine who was born in an ancient martial arts family. She just let out a soft drink. Then take a good look at the location. The rope hook was thrown towards the island of the opponent's aircraft carrier. The rope hook accurately hooked a circle of steel railings on the opponent's island. With her 2 feet kicking hard, her body jumped into the air like a nimble female leopard. Then she grabbed the arm of the rope hook and yanked harder. The whole person flew directly over the sea. Climb on the railing on the opponent's aircraft carrier island. The whole process is smooth and flowing. It seems that 4.7 has been rehearsed countless times, without any jerky or pause. Certainly, the hundreds of crew members and fighters on the opponent's aircraft carrier have been paying attention to the movement on the battleship Nemesis. Now seeing that Li Yao actually started to fight gang jumping. Immediately, he ran over to the ship island in shock. Then there was a fierce gun battle and the bombardment of grenades soon there. Ha ha ha, it's so cool, scumbags, try my mother's howitzer. Boom boom boom. Qin Tian could vaguely hear Li Yao's excited shouts. Damn, scumbags, don't touch our captain. Bastards, bullying more than less is nothing. Seeing my big sister being beaten up. Zhang Zhengyi and Yan Bin immediately threw out the hook with a shout. Jump over in the same way as Li Yao. 61%. Chapter 307 successfully seized, the fleet's first aircraft carrier. When the rest of the people saw these 3 live treasures, they all jumped over to fight. That is naturally not to be outdone. One by one, they threw out the rope hooks in their hands. One after another, they used their own methods to fly across the past. Qin Tian was frightened as he watched from behind. Good guy. This is really the 8 immortals crossing the sea to show their magical powers. But anyway, all of my combat crew members went to the opponent's Phoenix aircraft carrier smoothly. Da da da. In Qin Tian's view, I saw Rui and the others flew over. After a few jumps, it disappeared into the densely packed buildings on the ship island. Rapid and crisp gunshots sounded from time to time. This made Qin Tian, who did not change his expression, unconsciously shake his slightly sweaty hands. Then he gestured towards Yao Lang on the deck. Let the latter tell Wei Chen to drive the battleship to the other side of the Phoenix aircraft carrier. As the Nemesis passed by the opponent's aircraft carrier. Then it made another turn and quickly caught up with the Phoenix aircraft carrier. After driving side by side with the opponent, Qin Tian and the people in the live broadcast room finally saw clearly the form of the battle above. 06. I saw that Li Yao and the others were like nimble cheetahs running in the jungle. Use various buildings on the island to avoid bullets flying from all directions. Whenever they see the right opportunity, they backhand suddenly. Then the other party will inevitably have several or even a dozen people fall to the ground. This made Qin Tian feel sour. At the same time, it also made the heart that he had been holding on all the time drop back in an instant. Can only say, this high-talented crew versus low-talented crew. The difference in strength is indeed not a star and a half. Although there are hundreds of crew members on the Phoenix aircraft carrier. But under Li Yao's fierce onslaught, killed all the enemies on the deck with almost no effort. Then Qin Tian watched them split into two groups. Rui took Yan Jian and the others down to the cabin. On the other hand, Li Yao rushed directly to the door of the control room with her two younger brothers. After seeing the door was locked from the inside, she raised her gun and pointed it at the door lock, and there was a burst of chugs. Then she was not in a hurry to rush in with someone. But after loading the grenade, the three of them stood on either side of the door with their backs against the wall. After pushing open the door, Li Yao quickly retracted her body and hid herself. Just listening to the crackling inside is a burst of crazy shooting. Countless bullets jingled on the door frame. It's just that Li Yao held the gun with one hand. Put the gun in there. Facing the inside is a burst of strafing grenades. The entire control room quickly fell silent. Then the three rushed in quickly. I saw a burst of light flickering inside. After a brief gunshot rang out, Li Yao strolled out of the courtyard with the big weapon in her hand. He gestured a thumbs up to Qin Tian with a smile on his face. Call. This made Qin Tian heave a few breaths immediately. At the same time, he also had a deeper understanding of the strength of his crew as combatants. At the same time, the reminder of the will of the planet also sounded in Qin Tian's mind. Ding, your crew has captured the Phoenix aircraft carrier. If you defend it within 10 minutes, you will be successful in capturing it. Hear this beep. Qin Tian was slightly agitated in his heart. And at this moment, in the space-time live broadcast room, everyone who saw this scene was also shocked. I'm going, are Qin Shen and these combat crews so awesome? It feels like they are all good players with one enemy against 100. 1 against 100. Haven't you seen how strong my goddess Yao is? She has agility, an M4 carbine XM320 grenade launcher, and an object weighing more than 10 kilograms is as stable as Mount Tai in her hands. Damn, don't you forget, these bosses eat king-level sea beast meat almost every day. Can it be the same? I'm lost. Isn't your focus a bit crooked? Is this the time to care about these things? Shouldn't your concern be that Qin Shen will soon have an aircraft carrier? 1. Ah, damn it, I forgot, Qin Shenyu. There was laughter in the live broadcast room. On the Phoenix aircraft carrier. Over time, when Rui led people from under the cabin to force 30 or 40 people up with guns. Li Yao and the others also stayed in the control room for 10 minutes. Ding, congratulations to your crew for capturing the aircraft carrier Phoenix, your strength has increased again. Ended with this beep. The corners of Qin Tian's mouth immediately raised high. The capture was successful. This top-level auxiliary aircraft carrier with incredible capabilities will be his private property in the future. At that time, he will be combined with his nemesis aircraft carrier. So what if the fleet of the Zerul invaded? Those who can fight one-on-one by themselves don't even know their mothers. Qin Tian thought proudly in his heart. Captain, everything is settled. What should we do next? Li Yao raised her voice and asked Qin Tian. Qin Tian looked at Rui, and asked loudly, Rui, can you stop the battleship from anchoring? Rui nodded and said, it should be fine, I'll go and have a look. Finished. He entered the control room. Then, not for a while. Seeing the Phoenix aircraft carrier, it stopped. At the same time, the anchor was dropped. Seeing this, Qin Tian thought to himself, brave. As expected of an ace mechanic, he knows everything and can operate everything. Now that the opposite aircraft carrier has stopped, then Qin Tian will naturally send someone to control the aircraft carrier. Who should I choose? Qin Tian thought for a while, and decided to let Yao Lang and the three of them 313 take Pine Zhiqing there. People hate less when they use it. Qin Tian felt that it was necessary for him to spare some time to search and rescue some crew members at sea. He immediately came to the control room. They directly called Yao Lang, Wei Chen, Ma Fei, and Song Zhiqing, who was below, to help with the amethyst rice. Speaking of Song Zhiqing, Qin Tian was also a little helpless. There has never been a sense of existence. The will of the planet may be to lighten the burden on the chosen ones who came to this semi-digital world. Many battleship operations are semi-automated and integrated, and there is no old sixth ship type of submarine in this world. So his battleships range from destroyers to battleships, and 3 people in the control room are enough. After all, there are no submarines. There is no need to do those sonar detection operations. This also caused Song Jia-ching, the extra central control crew member, to sit on the bench aggrieved all the time. But it's all right now. Even if you use your thumb to think about such a big killer like an aircraft carrier, you can know that the central control must have a lot of functions. Even Qin Tian felt that even Yao Lang, the 3 of them plus Song Jia-ching might not be able to do it. So Qin Tian planned to set up Rui as the commander of the Phoenix aircraft carrier. When I have nothing to do, I usually stay on the island and control the aircraft carrier together. When there is a big battle, let him drive a Genesis-class fighter jet and let a lot of drones to fight the enemy in the sky. 61%. Chapter 308 One shot to the head, it turned out to be the chosen one. For Rui, who is already a die-hard loyalist, Qin Tian is just one word. Use. 2 words. Reuse. Anyway, those who can do more work. At worst, when the technological capabilities come up in the future, I will get him a Genesis mecha properly. He believes that Rui will definitely like it very much. At that time, let this guy fight for himself. Let his reputation spread throughout the universe. How much trouble would that save yourself? The more I think about it, the more I think it's a good idea. Qin Tian secretly remembered this matter in his heart. Of course, you can't grab an excellent employee and just squeeze it with such vigor. Wait until enough people are searched and rescued in the future. Still need a reasonable allocation of labor. After all, the image of a good boss who loves his employees and does not squeeze their labor force can effectively improve the happiness index of his crew. With the berthing of Phoenix aircraft carrier, Qin Tian asked Chu Hongbao to slowly approach the battleship Nemesis. It stopped when it was only a few meters away. Fortunately, today is sunny and sunny. There is no storm at sea. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to let 2 battleships with such a large displacement get so close. Although the small Phoenix aircraft carrier in front of him is not as big as Qin Tian's Nemesis battleship. But the height is much higher. But everyone has eaten king level sea beast meat and strengthened it several times. Of course, there is nothing to say about physical fitness. After Yan Jian and the others lowered a few ropes from above, Qin Tian took Yao Lang and they climbed up in 2 or 3 steps. I saw corpses that had been beaten into a sieve sentence by sentence on the deck above. After all, Li Yao's guns were all enhanced and upgraded by Qin Tian's consumable materials and top-quality sea beast teeth. The strength of that power is naturally not comparable to that of ordinary firearms. So it is normal to cause such injuries. Captain. After seeing Qin Tian coming up, everyone stood at attention one after another. Qin Tian smiled and nodded towards them, and said, "Thanks for your hard work. I can tell you clearly that the mission you completed today will be of great significance to our future operations in World of Warships. It's not hard, this is what we should do." Li Yao stood at attention with her head held high and her chest held high and said, "Captain, what about these people?" And at this moment, Yan Jian pointed a gun at the 30 or 40 people squatting on the ground with their heads in their hands and said, "These are all people who were searched from the dining room and various cabins below, but they all said that they were crew members who were searched and rescued, and they were just responsible. Cooking and cleaning." Qin Tian walked over straight after hearing the words. He looked at the rescued sailors in front of him, all of whom were blonde-haired and blue-eyed sailors, and asked in a flat voice, "Are you all rescued sailors?" "Yes, Mr. Captain, we are all crew members who died for various reasons and were rescued by this aircraft carrier. We are just cooks and sailors who do groceries. It will definitely not pose a threat to you and your crew, please let us go with your hands." Quote. In the crowd, a blond man raised his head, looked at Qin Tian cautiously and said. Qin Tian heard the words and looked into the other person's eyes. After finding that there is no problem, then he swung towards the opponent with a divine detective technique. Name, Bernie. Identity, Chosen 1. Talent, D grade. Loyalty, -9. Introduction. Just like you, he is the Chosen One from Blue Star. When you see this property panel, Qin Tian's eyes suddenly lit up slightly. This divine detective technique is okay, it can even detect the identity panel of the Chosen One. Then I don't have enough crew from now on, so it seems that I can go to capture the warships of those rich capitalists to snatch people. At that time, Those with high loyalty and good talent will stay, and those with low loyalty and poor talent will be eliminated directly. Then do you still have to worry about not having enough crew? Think of excitement. Qin Tian reached out and took out the Desert Eagle from his waistband. Then it was a shot between the eyebrows of the chosen one. What is the concept of a Genesis-level Desert Eagle hitting the heads of ordinary people? I saw that Bernie's eyebrows were raised, and the entire back half of his head exploded like a watermelon that was blown up. Red and white things splashed everywhere behind. Only the face with facial features still showed a shocked and puzzled expression. Then his eyes widened, and the body slowly fell to the ground. Whether it's the crew or everyone including the studio, they all looked at this man with horror in his eyes, who was still shining with excitement after killing someone. But Qin Tian turned a blind eye to these gazes. The eyes continued to look at the next blonde man. Then he pointed a gun at his head. His eyes were bright, but the expression on his face was extremely cold, and he said, I hate when others take me for a fool. Now I want you to accurately identify the crew and the god chosen. Can you do it? Talking. Qin Tian was also a divine detective technique, and lost it. After seeing that this man named Baker is an NPC, and his loyalty is still 57. Only then did Qin Tian feel satisfied. He just said it. How can an NPC be so smart and talkative to a stranger without high loyalty? He threw a divine detective technique over. After doing it for a long time, it turned out that that person was a chosen one whose loyalty was negative. If this allows the other party to get away with it, after that, will his position in the sea appear on the desks of those high-level Eurasian Federation officials every day? At that time, it will be surrounded by tens of thousands of warships. Even if he breaks through the battleship Nemesis into an aircraft carrier. At that time, I am afraid that I will not escape death. And with his words fell. Only then did everyone present and everyone in the live broadcast room suddenly realize. Let me just say, God Qin has never been a bloodthirsty person before. Why did he suddenly strike so hard this time? After a long time, it turned out that the person was the god's chosen one. This trick is poisonous. If the other party gets away with it and gets mixed up on the aircraft carrier, I am afraid that in the future good where Qin Shen is and where he is going will be exposed, and he will not even know how to die. How did this Qin Tian do it? How did he know that that person was the chosen one? And he even killed the opponent with a single shot. What if he killed the wrong person? It must be God Qin's talent. Don't forget, God Qin's talent is called Divine Detective Technique, and it's 100% scouting talent. It's like playing a game. It should be able to see others' properties panel. Oh, Xiete, according to what you said, wouldn't the talent of the big brother Qin Tian prevent people who would betray him from appearing around him in the future? It's almost inseparable. Before, I wondered how it could be rated as an SSS level skill because it was a natural skill of investigation. Now I understand, this is simply the ultimate skill for the development and growth of the chosen one. The people in the studio let out a sigh of relief. Li Yao and the others on the deck also relaxed. 61%. Chapter 309. The Great Ocean Horse with a loyalty value of 89. To be honest, this is the first time they have seen their captain kill a person so cleanly. Grim, direct, without any hesitation or sympathy. For sure, their captain must have killed many people before. Because the feeling and performance after using a battleship to kill people is definitely different from that after killing people by yourself. I don't know what my own captain has experienced. After a headshot with a Desert Eagle, faced with such a disgusting death, he didn't change his face, remained indifferent, and didn't even blink his eyes. This is a bit scary. Baker, who was pointed at by the Desert Eagle's black hole, was about to pee out of fear. He didn't know why the young captain in front of him could see through Lord Bernie's identity. But now Bernie was a corpse. And if he doesn't answer honestly, will it be the next corpse with the back of its head blown off? He dare not bet, so slowly stood up. Subconsciously, he scanned several companions around him with his eyes. Decide it, you have seen the end of deceiving me, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Qin Tian said calmly. Hear Qin Tian's words. Baker gritted his teeth. Under the leadership of Qin Tian, they walked from the beginning to the end of the row. A total of 3 people were identified from the crowd. Oh, Shet, Baker, I have nothing against you, why did you frame me? Fack, Baker, how dare you? Bah, you coward, thanks to the fact that we rescued you back then, we should have left you in the sea to feed the sharks. The identified 3 gritted their teeth, glared at Baker with red eyes and said. Baker looked down at his shoes. Shame was written all over his face. Gone. Qin Tian didn't have time to appreciate their tearing fight. Looking at Baker, he asked lightly. No, no more. Baker said without daring to raise his head. The look of panic in his eyes flashed away. It's just that he was lucky and suddenly felt that his temple was pressed against it by a hard foreign object. His eyes widened instantly. Unbelievable horror was written all over his face. Then just listen to, bang. Before he could react, half of his head exploded with the huge gunfire of the Desert Eagle. Such a cruel scene can be said to have completely shocked these crew members. Is this young captain a devil? How would he know that there are gods chosen among their crowd? Someone stood up unbearably, pointed at a blonde beauty in the crowd and said, Don't kill any more, only this woman is left. Really, this woman is the only one among us who is not a crew member. Under everyone's gaze, the girl with blonde hair and blue eyes came out of the crowd tremblingly. The originally ruddy and sexy lips could not help but turn a little pale. But it's strange. This woman is obviously very scared. But the eyes and expression she looked at Qin Tian were full of excitement and anticipation. One has to wonder if this girl's mind has been scared out of her wits. People are going to kill you. Why are you so excited? And Qin Tian looked at the appearance in front of him, about 25 or 16 years old. With waist-length hair, sexy and three-dimensional facial features, and an extremely hot body, the big Yangma frowned and said, You know me. You seem to have a high degree of affection for me. Hear this. In this world, Mu Ningshui's hand that was holding the cup to drink water suddenly trembled. Then the cup in his hand shattered into pieces in an instant. The water inside spilled all over the place. At the desk, Qin Xiaoxiao, who was holding a textbook and reading a book, turned her head and said with a strange face, Mama, why don't I wait for Dad to capture the island and build a portal, and I'll borrow a durian from Lily when we go in. It is said that their family grows a variety of durians in the base, and every time her father makes her mother angry, her mother will ask her father to split the tin durian with his bare hands. Mu Ningshui when AGCF rolled his eyes angrily. Preview your text carefully. Are you previewing the text or watching the live broadcast? And in World of Warships, Qin Tian was really curious about the big blonde-haired horse in front of him. He can be sure that the two are meeting for the first time. But this big ocean horse named Elisa has a full 89 points of loyalty to him. This made him very confused. Could it be that this big ocean horse is the same as Nangongla? Treat him as an idol. But in the face of Qin Tian's inquiry, I saw the blonde beauty named Elisa said with an excited expression on her face, God Qin, I actually wanted to see you a long time ago, so I specially wanted to say thank you. Say thank you to me. Qin Tian frowned, looked at the other party and said, I don't seem to have helped you, have I? I haven't even seen you. Elisa shook her head and said, It's true that you haven't seen me, but you helped me avenge my sister's blood. Qin Tian's mind was also turning very quickly. He immediately asked tentatively, You mean that among the people I killed, someone killed your sister? Elisa nodded and said, Yes, just half a year ago, my 18-year-old sister was also teleported into this world of warships, and she had already successfully crossed the Novice Sea area. I sent her the coordinates, just as I was expecting to meet my sister. But I received a message from her that she was taken away by the Lot family. She sent a message to tell me that she was taken to the island of the Lot family, and she served the disgusting dictator leader of the Lot family, Phyllis, day and night. If she was not careful, she would be beaten and bullied. A week later, I have not received any messages from my sister. I know what that means, but there's nothing I can do about it. I once begged the people of the Cyril family, hoping that they could negotiate with the Lot family, let my sister go, and return her. I even paid for it with my own body. But they didn't do anything until my sister died. So, when I know that you killed that nasty bastard Phyllis, I really, really thank you. It is you who helped me fulfill the wish in my heart that is almost never possible. Quote. After listening to the other party's narration, Qin Tian finally understood the reason for this. Is a poor man, but in World of Warships. No. Not to mention World of Warships, even in this world. There are countless poor people who have encountered this situation. The huge world has hundreds of millions of people. How many people can pay attention to their pain and suffering? Qin Tian looked at Elisa in front of him and said, I am deeply sorry for your sister's matter, and I am honored to be able to help you. If you want, you can live in my fleet in the future and do what you can live. Of course, if you have other places to go, I can also send you there. For this poor girl who has a 90% liking for him. Qin Tian is still willing to help. 61%. Chapter 310 A-level talent, a Phoenix aircraft carrier that can be strengthened. After all, he is not that kind of antisocial personality. Be it good or bad, all want to destroy it. And facing Qin Tian's words, Elisa said directly with her eyes shining, "No, God Qin, I am willing to help you. Maybe you don't know that my talent skill is A-level armor maintenance. A level healing skill." Qin Tian couldn't help being a little surprised when he heard that. He didn't expect the other party's talent to be an A-level healing skill. This talent level is already considered very good. Yes, it can restore 3000 HP to the battleship within 10 seconds, but the cooling time is a bit long. It takes 30 seconds, but I will definitely work hard to improve myself. Elisa looked at Qin Tian and said firmly. And she just finished there. Qin Tian received the reminder of the will of the planet. God chosen Elisa, level A, requests to join. May I agree with you? Hear the beep of the will of the planet. After Qin Tian thought about it for a while, he still chose to agree. Yes, not just the crew. In fact, allegiance can also be carried out among the chosen ones. In this way, the loyal person can clearly grasp all the information of the loyalist. And don't worry about rebellion yet. After all, loyalty is there. If there is a problem, changes in loyalty cannot be fooled. Like the islands of the major forces, almost all of them are managed by pyramid management. The Grand Commander is responsible for accepting the allegiance of several trusted chosen ones. Several cronies are then responsible for accepting the allegiance of the highly gifted chosen. Highly talented chosen then receive the allegiance of ordinary management. Ordinary management goes down to accept the allegiance of the chosen at the bottom. Almost everything goes up and down in this way, no matter which class is wrong. Then loyalty will definitely drop significantly. When the time comes, they will naturally be suppressed by the higher level managers. It can be said that as long as the commander-in-chief does not provoke people to betray their relatives, large-scale unrest is almost impossible. And after solving Elisa's matter, the next thing that needs to be solved is naturally the three chosen ones of the Cyril family who want to get away with it. There is nothing to say. Qin Tian had already used the divine detective technique to see the identities of their three chosen ones. And the loyalty of the three are all between 0 and 5. Although not negative, but also ridiculously low. So Qin Tian rewarded them with a single shot, let them stand side by side, and walked away very peacefully. As for the remaining 30 or so crew members, Qin Tian did not make things difficult for them. Maybe he was overwhelmed by his iron and blood methods. The loyalty of these crew members has actually risen to above 70. So Qin Tian thought for a while, decided to break them up and cultivate them for a period of time. He didn't believe in his hidden talents in terms of living conditions and quick liking. He still can't deal with these innocent little crew members. But these are not in a hurry. At squared B2+. The main purpose of his visit this time is to see if he can strengthen and upgrade the Phoenix aircraft carrier. So after resolving conflicting events, he immediately used the divine detective technique to open the panel of the aircraft carrier under his feet. Phoenix, small auxiliary aircraft carrier. Displacement, 47,100 tons. ER 243.8 times 30 times 7.2. Flight deck M 219.5 times 29. Carrier aircraft, 0.68. Health volume, 45,500. 3864-4563. Defense, 2,100. Fire control system. Power system, HJ, SJ3 steam turbine times 6. Speed, 29 knots. Weapon system, Dark Shark type 34,381 mm naval gun purple times 4, 20 mm close and anti-aircraft gun blue times 24. Fire control radar. Radar system. Characteristics. Immortality. After applying immortality to the attack aircraft carrier, all carrier-based aircraft and pilots on the attack aircraft carrier can be resurrected within 1 hour. Note: the first resurrection is free every day. The more times and quantities of resurrection, the more needed, the more materials you have. You can only revive fighters of the 3rd generation and below. The cooling time is 10 minutes. Introduction. A top-level auxiliary aircraft carrier with immortality, which can add immortality to attack aircraft carriers within a short distance. Ordinary reinforcement. Low-quality wood 750,000, low-quality plastic 900,000, low-quality nails 600,000, low-quality metal sheet 500,000. Enhancement can increase water by 10,000, blood by 10,000, and defense by 300. 0. Seeking flowers. High-quality enhancement. Ordinary wood 700,000, ordinary plastic 600,000, ordinary nails 450,000, ordinary metal sheet 500,000. Strengthening can increase displacement by 20,000, blood volume by 20,000, and defense by 600. Advanced reinforcement. 500,000 high-quality wood, 600,000 high-quality plastic, 400,000 high-quality nails, 400,000 high-quality metal sheets. Strengthening can increase displacement by 30,000, blood volume by 30,000, and defense by 1,000. When you see that everything displayed in the back is strengthened, Qin Tian couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Thus, it means that his Phoenix aircraft carrier will be a small auxiliary aircraft carrier for the rest of his life. Unable to progress, sooner or later, he will be eliminated by him. That would really be a waste of the undead nature feature. It's just that after seeing that advanced strengthening actually needs 800,000 high-quality metal pieces, Qin Tian obediently dismissed the attribute panel of the Phoenix small aircraft carrier immediately. Don't talk about advanced now. He is now short of supplies for the aircraft carrier advanced enhancement. Once advanced strengthening is carried out, then all the metal pieces in his data backpack must be declared exhausted immediately. Oh, yes, I haven't seen the warehouse in this aircraft carrier yet. After all, he saw this aircraft carrier parked on the island of the Cyril family to carry out material handling before. And think of the Cyril family island. Qin Tian slapped his forehead violently again. Lie on, how could I have forgotten about the shelling of the Cyril family's island warehouse? I hope that at this moment, those remnant soldiers will not be given the upper hand. Think here, he hurriedly said to everyone. Hurry up, Ah Chen, A Lang, you immediately go to the control room to control the battleship and go to the island of the Cyril family. Our spoils can't be taken advantage of by others. Although being able to capture the Phoenix aircraft carrier is already the biggest gain of this trip. But if you can get another wave of supplies from the island of the Cyril family, then this result is naturally better. After all, there are too many high-quality metal pieces consumed in this wave of battles. In the data backpack, there are more than 1.9 million high-quality metal sheets, and now there are only more than 810,000 left. 62%. Chapter 311. Prepare to go to the island to search the best sea beast teeth. And with Qin Tian's mobilization, Yao Lang and Wei Chen also quickly ran to the control room with Ma Fei and Song Zhicheng. Those crew members also started to work at Qin Tian's request. Under the supervision of Li Yao and the others, these crew members began to throw the corpses on the deck and the island into the sea one by one to feed the fish. It's just that they didn't clean up the remaining blood after throwing away the corpse. Let it dry in the sun and wait until the next rainy day to rinse it off. This made Qin Tian, who was following behind Yao Lang and the others, speechless. Alyssa, go and tell them to let them clean up the blood and minced meat left over from the corpse. Qin Tian said to Alyssa beside him. God knows when the next heavy rain will come. But with the sun exposure, these minced meat and blood will definitely fill the aircraft carrier with some rancid smell in the short term. 300 is a potential danger in Qin Tian's view. After all, in World of Warships, infectious diseases are also one of the reasons for the sharp decline in the strength of many gods chosen. If one fails, even the chosen one himself will be sent away. So Qin Tian has always asked his crew to keep clean and hygienic. Ah, God Qin, are you serious? Alyssa looked at Qin Tian in astonishment, and said with a somewhat embarrassed expression. Qin Tian looked at each other, a little puzzled. What? Is there any problem? Alyssa said. Of course, God Qin, the water we eat and use on the Phoenix aircraft carrier is fixed every day. It's better for us gods chosen. Drink 400 to 500 milliliters of water, so how can they have extra water resources to clean up the blood left on the boat? After Qin Tian heard this, he remembered. In the entire world of warships, there are probably not many god chosen who can build a Genesis-level water purifier like him. There are more than 100 combat crew members on this aircraft carrier. Plus 30 or 40 sailors doing logistics and doing odd jobs. No wonder there is a bit of water scarcity. Forget it, let's get down to business first. Helplessly nodded. Qin Tian followed Yao Lang and the others into the control room. According to Elisa, Brand, the owner of the Phoenix aircraft carrier, had been squatting here with 2 C-rank combatants before. It's just that the corpses inside have been cleaned up by Zhang Zhengyi and Yan Bin in advance, and thrown into the sea. So Qin Tian couldn't see him either. As for the blood on the ground and the center console, it didn't affect Yao Lang and Wei Chen at all. Born in this world of warships, dead people have long been commonplace, with the central control being taken over. Yao Lang quickly contacted Zula on the Nemesis. Zula, this is the Phoenix aircraft carrier. I am Yao Lang. The captain has ordered us to quickly go to the island of Cyril and search for all the supplies on the island. As the upper body of Zula appeared on the screen, Yao Ming spoke immediately. Zula received it. I have scanned here and found that there are indeed 3 destroyers docked on the island of Cyril, and there are more warships rushing there. If this is the case, I will go to defend the island first. On the screen, Zula glanced at the radar and said, Okay, Zula, you go to guard the island first, and we will arrive later. Hearing Zhu Li's words, Qin Tian immediately stepped forward and gave him an order. Understood, Captain, then we're leaving now. With the communication screen off, I saw the battleship Nemesis turning around in front. It quickly sailed away from here and headed towards the island of Cyril. Fake, this damned Yanlong. It's over, our years of hard work are just wasted. In this world, seeing this scene, the people of the Cyril family were so angry that their eyes were tearing apart and their blood pressure soared. In their entire Cyril family, apart from the descendant Clifford's lineage, there are still a few divinely favored persons, and the rest of the direct lineages of the family only have a few divinely favored persons in the Edmund family. But the problem is that the imprints of the 3 Clifford family members are at the aircraft carrier level. The Edmonds were just battleships. In this way, doesn't it mean that from now on, the power center of their Cyril family will be transferred to the distant branch with thin blood? And their original direct descendants will be marginalized, and a large number of interests will be divided. Several people yelled and cursed frantically. But the result doesn't change anything. They have been considered very lucky. At least the family managed to escape David and a Clifford who broke through the aircraft carrier. They remembered that Clifford's favored beings were bound to his father, mother, and wife. Anyway, 3 battleship gods and 3 aircraft carrier gods sit in the manor. Let their Cyril family successfully avoid the tragedy of the Manston family. And in World of Warships, with the anchor retracted, Phoenix the aircraft carrier slowly turned. Soon, they also quickly sailed towards the island of the Cyril family. Let's go, Elisa, take me to the warehouse of this aircraft carrier. I want to know how many valuable materials this aircraft carrier has looted from Cyril Island. Seeing that there is nothing for him in the control room for the time being, Qin Tian immediately said to the blonde girl beside him. Okay, God Qin, but due to the rush of time at that time, there should not be too many supplies. The blueprints and advanced battleship armaments in the fleet were all collected by David Cyril on his own battleship, but before I seem to see some sea beast teeth while carrying them, and this one seems to have quite a few. Elisa led the way, while giving Qin Tian a vaccination. In order to avoid getting the time warehouse, Curry's materials cannot meet the psychological expectations of the other party. Let the other party have a huge emotional gap. Avoid letting others experience a huge emotional gap. It was almost becoming her survival instinct. Just like Brand. Once the emotional gap is too large, there will be ups and downs. Then she will often become the opponent's first 5.0 punching bag. In this world of warships where the jungle preys on the jungle, if a beautiful woman does not have a strong force to accompany her, then living in a group is also a very sad thing. Oh, sea beast teeth. Are there top-grade sea beast teeth? Qin Tian didn't have the heart to think about the experiences of the other party. After hearing the name sea beast tooth, I immediately became interested in it. Several high-quality blueprints in his hand cannot be advanced because they do not have the best sea beast teeth. If there are top-grade sea beast teeth, that would have done too much for him. At the very least, Rui's Genesis class fighter can be made for him by himself. Extreme sea beast teeth. And hearing Qin Tian's question, Elisa nodded and said, yes, there is. Qin Tian's eyes lit up. Just not too much. 62%. Chapter 312. Install a Genesis class water purifier on the Phoenix. Qin Tian, who was choked by the other party's panting words, asked helplessly, not too much, how much? As Elisa walked, she thought about it and said, extreme sea animal teeth are also valuable materials, so most of them must be in the hands of David. Almost all of these are stored on the island as prizes, so probably 200 or 300 of them will be enough to reach the sky. 200 or 300. Qin Tian nodded secretly. Good. At least it shouldn't be a problem to get a Genesis fighter. Ah, by the way, God Qin, I remembered. And at this moment, Elisa suddenly slapped her head again and said, Brand seems to have hidden some top-quality sea beast teeth in private pockets before, and they are in his room. We can look for them later. Qin Tian's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he nodded in agreement with the proposal. Under the leadership of Elisa, they soon came to the warehouse of Phoenix. Qin Tian just opened the door. A reminder of the will of the planet sounded in my mind. Ding! Detection 06 arrived at the storage warehouse of the Phoenix. May the captain merge all the supplies of the Phoenix. Merge. Hear cues from the will of the planet. Qin Tian nodded without thinking. A golden light flashed across the entire Phoenix aircraft carrier. The beep of the will of the planet rang again. Merger completed. Hear the cue. Qin Tian immediately opened the data backpack and looked at the more important supplies. Poor wood. 53,821. Common wood. 933,339. Fine wood. 3,187,510. Inferior sheet metal. 1,948,988. Ordinary metal sheet. 655,334. Excellent sheet metal. 1,675,688. Inferior nails. 98,621. Ordinary nails. 222,112. Excellent nails. 68,843. Poor quality plastic. 31,587. Ordinary plastic. 563,215. 63,512. 7,000. Rag. 193,380. 2,510 common sea beast teeth. Elite sea beast teeth 1980 PCs. 1,000 premium sea animal teeth. Look at the amount of supplies in the data backpack. The light in Qin Tian's eyes flickered slightly. I can see it. Most of the materials needed for the upgrade and breakthrough of the Phoenix aircraft carrier by the original owner were ordinary materials. That's why ordinary materials will account for the majority of curry in the warehouse. And as Elisa said, other supplies. For example, there is really nothing good about battleship armaments. I don't know if there is a drawing or not. The only thing that comforted Qin Tian were those sea beast teeth. There are actually 1,000 teeth of top-quality sea beasts. This is quite an astonishing amount. As for the 1980 elite sea beast teeth and 2,510 ordinary sea beast teeth, Qin Tian decided to throw them all into the auction at that time. He can't use it anyway. It's better to return some useful supplies. Thus, he has almost enough supplies to break through the aircraft carrier. At that time, it will be time to wait for the news of the birth of the god-level treasure island. God Qin, look, the sea beast's teeth are there. Once in the warehouse, Elisa soon saw baskets of sea beast teeth placed in the corner. Qin Tian nodded and walked over to have a look. I saw a few wooden baskets. There are 5 or 6 baskets of ordinary sea beast teeth and elite sea beast teeth. But the uniform and plump, white and hard top-grade sea beast teeth are only half a basket. Qin Tian can tell without counting. These top-grade sea beasts only have 150 or 60 teeth. However, there are 1,000 top-grade sea beast teeth displayed in the data backpack. It can be seen how much Brand has pocketed, now that the supplies of Phoenix have been merged. Then he didn't need to look any further. So after watching the sea beast teeth, Qin Tian turned his head and walked outside. Oh, God Qin, are we going to Brand's room to search for the rest of the sea beast teeth? Elisa hurriedly followed up and asked. No need, I have found those teeth, now you take me to see the water purifier on the aircraft carrier. Qin Tian said without looking back. In World of Warships, potable fresh water resources will always be a top priority. Oh, all right, Elisa nodded, although I was very puzzled. But she didn't ask too much. Walking ahead, he quickly brought Qin Tian to a water purifier about 2 meters in size. Qin Tian scanned it with divine detective technique. It was found that this is a water purifier of legendary quality. And in the attribute panel detected by divine detective technique, there is still an option to advance to the creation level. So Qin Tian made the choice without hesitation. Advanced Genesis level water purifiers require 2,000 high-quality wood, 3,000 high-quality metal sheets, and 4,000 high-quality plastics. Do you want to advance? Yes, Qin Tian calmly chose. Now he doesn't need to hide anything. A battleship plus a Phoenix aircraft carrier. With these 1,000 top-grade sea beast teeth. Not only can he get Rui a Genesis fighter, he can even make legendary class head figure blueprint and Genesis class Y-21 anti-ship missile. If those 10 mythical level unmanned fighters are upgraded to the creation level, they will be manufactured. Until then, in the sky, Urui drives a Genesis class fighter and leads 10 Genesis class unmanned fighters to occupy air supremacy. And he himself can easily destroy a family with Cyril's strength on the sea. 363 He didn't believe that those big capitalists dared to provoke him casually. At most, when he occupied the god-level treasure island, he teamed up with several countries to dispatch a huge fleet to encircle him. But figure it out, he doesn't just need the island now. The big deal is to take the things on Treasure Island first. After breaking through the battleship into the Nemesis aircraft carrier with double attributes, he ran away directly. After the major forces go back to their homes and find their own mothers, they leave. He brought 2 aircraft carriers to the door one by one to hold a grand barbecue festival for their island. Let's see who can stand against whom. Well, for the holidays. Looks like he's going to have to get some bombers out in the meantime. And just when Qin Tian was spreading his thoughts, the water purifier in front of me has begun to undergo earth-shaking changes. The body that was originally more than 2 meters high and only 2 or 3 meters wide was shrouded in golden light. Wait a few seconds for the golden light to dissipate. A super huge water purifier with a height of 3 meters and a width of almost 6 meters appeared in front of Elisa. Hiss. Elisa watched this scene, her beautiful eyes widened in an instant. Ah, God Qin, this your strengthening talent. Qin Tian nodded and said, with this, in the future Phoenix will not need to use so much water. Finished. He consumes ordinary plastic and begins to make and install water pipes piece by piece. 62%. Chapter 313. Digging the ground 3 feet, never letting go of a stitch. Have an installation experience. Qin Tian quickly installed running water pipes in all cabins of the entire Phoenix aircraft carrier. Also created 2 places dedicated to bathing. After finishing these, he took Elisa to the deck. Facing the latter, he said, tell those people that you don't have to worry about water in the future, and let them clean up the deck for me. As he spoke, he came out from below with 2 water pipes installed on the deck near the island. Thus, it will be much more convenient for them to clean the deck in the future. And facing Qin Tian's words, Elisa had no doubts about him. Go straight over and talk to those crew members. The crew didn't believe it at first. But when Elisa led them to the 2 water pipes, after turning on the faucet, clear water flows out from the inside. The crew cheered excitedly. Then they first each carefully took out an almost empty water bottle from their pockets. Everyone first took a full bottle and drank it happily. Then fill it up. They just took buckets and mops. Start filling with water. Clean up the deck carefully. After finishing these, Qin Tian stood on the deck and looked into the distance. Already vaguely able to see the island of the Cyril family covered with green vegetation at the end of the sea level. As the distance gets closer, it can be seen that many warships around the island are slowly sinking under fire. And that Nemesis battleship surrounded the island, like a supreme lord patrolling his own territory. From time to time, artillery shells and anti-ship missiles will be fired. Blast the battleships that are still sailing here on the way. Such a ruthless method is naturally to deter those warships of the Cyril family who want to fish in troubled waters from approaching. They stopped at 20 or 30 kilometers away and broke down. It showed a posture of, we are just looking at it, and we will not sail forward any further. In fact, they saw their Lord Brand's Phoenix aircraft carrier. Just wait for their own aircraft carrier to fight with the opponent. Straight up to help. Naturally, Qin Tian couldn't hide these small thoughts. He shook his head speechlessly. He didn't bother to talk to those little Carla honeys anymore. Focus all your attention on the island. After more than half an hour, Phoenix the aircraft carrier arrived at the island's harbor. Dig the ground 3 feet, never miss a stitch. Following Qin Tian's order, more than 30 crew members on the aircraft carrier and Yu Dai on the Nemesis took Tangming and Sun Xiaoyang to the island. A group of people pushed the large trolleys parked on the port, and soon disappeared among the buildings not far away. The reason for giving up the bombardment of Cyril Island this time. It was because he learned from Elisa. The reason why it was widely used by Brand to revive fighter jets. The 6 warehouses on the island are now running out of supplies. If you use a trolley to send it to the battleship one by one, each warehouse can almost search out 1 or 2 million units of materials. But if you choose to bombard the whole island, it would be nice to get a total of 2 to 3 million units of supplies. And Elisa also told him clearly. Island storage curries current remaining supplies. It's not bad stuff, it's good stuff. That's why Qin Tian asked Tang Ming and Sun Xiaoyang to go ashore with a group of crew members. He wanted Tang Ming and Sun Xiaoyang to synthesize all the inferior materials on the island into high-quality materials. After synthesis, these crew members will push them back one by one. This will not only ensure efficiency, but also ensure the maximum benefit of materials. Far away, when the chosen ones of the Cyril family, who were still waiting to support their Lord Brand, saw the Phoenix not only swaggeringly stop beside the Yanlong battleship, and the crew who came down from above followed the opponent's cart and ran to the back of the buildings where they originally lived. All the chosen ones of the Cyril family were numb. At this time, how could they not know? 9 times out of 10, their own Phoenix aircraft carrier was seized by others. An aircraft carrier plus a battleship with incredible combat power. Now these chosen ones of the Cyril family completely extinguished the little juju in their hearts. Honestly, he became a spectator from a distance. And here Qin Tian was not idle on the boat. He returned to his battleship, Nemesis. First, he went to the cabin below where the amethyst rice was placed and picked up 2,000 gin bags of amethyst rice and put them on the deck, and then unloaded all the warship armaments that Nangongle supported him. Then he opened Nangong Li's private chat interface. Opened the transaction application and put all the warship armaments of the other party on it, and also put the 2,000 amethyst rice on it. Okay. Done, Nangong, thank you for your weapon assistance. Nangong Li quickly agreed to Qin Tian's deal. Then he sent a message curiously. Boss, you are too polite. If it weren't for your care, how could I have achieved what I am now? Did this defeat the Cyril family? Oh, yes, big brother, your few hidden zi ying. What is ying's rice-like thing? A new type of food. Qin Tian couldn't help feeling a little ashamed when he saw this message from the other party. It seems that the other party didn't realize it at all. Even without his Qin Tian help, the other party can develop very well in the end. But he will not expose this misunderstanding. Let this beautiful misunderstanding perpetuate forever. I thought quietly in my heart. Qin Tian replied to the other party. Well, the Cyril family was defeated, but their commander-in-chief David ran away with another high-ranking officer, but it doesn't matter. If they dare to come in the future, I can keep them from running away. As for the rice, it is called amethyst rice, which is a new variety of rice that I have cultivated. It tastes good and is very nutritious. The 2,000 caddies will be regarded as a thank you gift this time. Ah, big brother, don't need to do this, I have received so much favor from you, why don't you want? I can trade with you with material deriving Li's capital. Nangong looked at it happily, and immediately replied with some embarrassment. Stop, you girl, don't make too much effort for me, it's only 2,000 caddies, it's nothing to me, you can eat first, and it's the same when you come to me next time after eating. See, Qin Tian said so. Nangong Li couldn't refuse any more. Immediately thanked Qin Tian, and chatted for a few more words. The two ended their communication. After Qin Tian returned all of Nangong Li's weapons, he immediately installed all his naval guns back. Then he took the legendary fighter blueprint and 10 mythical unmanned fighter blueprints and returned to the Phoenix aircraft carrier. At this time, the deck of the aircraft carrier has been cleaned up. It's just that there is no fighter jet on the huge deck. This makes the Phoenix aircraft carrier look a bit miserable indeed. So Qin Tian came to the security position near the deck. 62%. Chapter 314 Genesis Class J-31 Stealth Fighter. Qin Tian stood in front of the security position on the edge of the deck. First, he took out the legendary fighter blueprint. Then with a thought, I used the divine detective technique to check. Item. Blueprint of legendary fighter. Quality. Orange. Production requirements. Ordinary plastic 10,000, ordinary metal sheet 8,000, ordinary nail 10,000, see animal tooth 100. Efficacy. It can be used to make orange legendary S-25 3 generation fighter. Quality advancement. Ordinary plastic 30,000, ordinary metal sheet 20,000, ordinary nails 20,000, top quality sea beast teeth 200, can be advanced into a red mythical J-15 4th generation fighter advanced. Advanced advancement. 40,000 fine plastics, 30,000 fine metal sheets, 30,000 fine nails, 300 premium sea animal teeth, which can be advanced into colorful creations. 31 fifth-generation fighters can be advanced. When I saw that advanced actually needed 300 top-quality sea beast teeth, Qin Tian couldn't help feeling a little distressed. Good guy. It is indeed the main equipment of the highest-level aircraft carrier of warships. Manufacturing a Genesis-level fighter actually consumes 100 more top-quality sea beast teeth than manufacturing a Genesis-level naval gun. This is so expensive. But after all, it was for Rui. Of course, the 390 must follow the best ones to advance. So Qin Tian chose advanced without hesitation. Manufacturing the Genesis J-31 fifth-generation fighter requires 40,000 high-quality plastics, 30,000 high-quality metal sheets, 30,000 high-quality nails, and 300 top-quality sea beast teeth. Do you want to manufacture them? Manufacture, Qin Tian said bluntly. Anyway, this is the fifth-generation carrier-based fighter of the aircraft carrier. In the future, it will be a super killer for us to seize air supremacy. No matter what should be created, it must be created. With the blueprint in hand disappears. Soon, a white streamlined fighter jet with a height of 5 or 6 meters, a length of nearly 20 meters, and a wingspan of more than 13 meters appeared before Qin Tian's eyes. Looking at the graceful and light fighter jet in front of him like a falcon, Qin Tian threw the divine detective technique directly. Item: Genesis J-31 Stealth Fighter. Quality: colorful. 19.31 times 5.73 times 13.06. Health volume: 15,600. Ix: 7,030. Defense: 1,500. Special AGCF properties: the use of radio wave absorbing material to be invisible to radar, the suspended fuel tank that can store ammunition capacity 20. Maximum speed: Mach 2.5. Maximum ceiling: 18,000 meters. Combat radius: 800 nautical miles. Engine: HP 229 post-combustion turbofan. Weapon system: 20 mm M6 Vulcan cannon, Blue as 1 air-to-ship missile, Blue X8, AI-10 air-to-air missile, Blue X6. Not bad, after seeing the gorgeous data of the Genesis J-31 stealth fighter. A bright smile appeared on Qin Tian's face immediately. But now another problem popped up. That is, he does not have high-quality air-to-air missiles and air-to-ship missiles. And the Blue quality 20 mm M6 Vulcan cannon is also a bit hip. Even Rui's operation is high-end. But it's not good if the equipment can't keep up. Only these 14 missiles can hit 7,000 blood damage. Average damage per missile is 500. If it is cut by the enemy's defense again, the damage from that shot is probably the same as scratching an itch. Think here. Qin Tian immediately opened the trading market. Flip through page by page. As a result, after turning through 20 or 30 pages, I couldn't find the relevant missile weapons and drawings. Instead, I found a Blue quality A-16 Vulcan 25 mm 6-barrel aviation machine blueprint. The other party bid 50 bottles of water. Possibly also observed the market. It was found that there were no weapons linked to the carrier-based fighter. So in line with the principle of rare things, such a high price was directly linked. But Qin Tian was too lazy to engage in such troublesome bargaining with the other party. Go directly to the faucet under the island. Make 50 plastic bottles and fill them with water to replace the advanced cannon blueprint. Back to the fighter. Use the divine detective technique to explore the advanced requirements of this blueprint. After discovering that 8,000 high-quality plastics, 5,000 high-quality metal sheets, 5,000 high-quality nails, and 100 top-quality sea animal teeth are required to manufacture it, Qin Tian could only reluctantly choose to make. There is such a mythical cannon. At least Rui can deal decent damage when he is operating in Tianshangshu. Manufacturing mythical grade A, 16 Vulcan 20 mm 6-tube aviation cannon requires 4,000 high-quality plastics, 8,000 high-quality plastics, 5,000 high-quality metal sheets, 5,000 high-quality nails, and 100 top-quality sea beast teeth. Do you want to manufacture them? Manufacture. Qin Tian nodded. An aircraft carrier was seized. Today is destined to be a shopping festival. He admits it. With the drawing disappears. Soon the single-barrel cannon that was only a little exposed under the fuselage became a 6-barreled cannon that retracted into the fuselage. The design of shrinking back into the body made Qin Tian very satisfied. It looks very technical, Qin Tian thought. Then I used the divine detective technique to investigate it. Item. Mythical A16 Vulcan 20mm 6-tube aviation cannon. Quality. Red. Ix. 58. Effective range. 3,000 meters. Effective rate of fire. 4,000-6,000 rounds per minute. Durability. 5,000. Requirement. Every 1,000 units of high-quality metal pieces consumed can be fired for 1 minute. Introduction. The machine gun with 6 barrels fixedly connected together reduces the vibration of the barrel and has strong stability. There is no irregular recoil of the joint gun, and the hit rate is increased by 70%. When seeing 58 attacks, after a minimum rate of fire of 4,000 rounds per minute, the corners of Qin Tian's mouth immediately turned up high. This damage is really a bit awesome. 58 damage per shot. 4,000 rounds is more than 200,000 damage. Although the fighter cannon has a very low hit rate in combat. But Qin Tian believed that in Rui's hands, the combat ability displayed would definitely be different. It's just that Li Yao and Rui went to the island to protect the crew and go to collect supplies. There was no way to let Rui go up for a test drive. So Qin Tian went down to the cabin below the deck by himself. 3 barrels of crude oil were brought up from one of the warehouses specially used to hold crude oil. Added usage against fighters. After finishing these, Qin Tian saw it from a distance. A large group of people pushed the carts from the island and slowly pushed them towards the port. 62%. Chapter 315. Being abused. Okay, a chance to gain favorability. But not everyone is slow. Like Yu Hai and the others who have undergone many physical enhancements. The speed of the cart is really slippery. To the flat land of the port. Immediately, he pushed the protruding cart into the air. Along the wooden bridge handcrafted by Yu Dai, it was pushed onto the Nemesis. This sudden acceleration directly stunned the foreign crew members on the aircraft carrier. It's not too strenuous for them to push such a cart. But wanting to suddenly walk swiftly like those black-eyed and black-haired Orientals is something that I dare not even think about. Some of them don't understand. These Orientals look half a head lower than them. How can I become stronger all of a sudden so much? Where do these blonde crew members know? If it weren't for the fear of the bumpy roads on the island, the supplies in the car would be bumped and dropped. They had already run back and forth twice. But Yu Hai just pushed it once. It was stopped by Qin Tian. We have been fighting all morning. I don't feel anything when I'm highly stressed. Now I'm relaxed. My stomach is already hungry and my chest is sticking to my back. If you don't do your own job as a chef, what is your experience here? Old Yu, if you don't hurry up and cook, everyone will starve to death. Qin Tian rolled his eyes, and shouted at the other party angrily. He would never admit that he was starving to death. Hearing this, Yu Dai threw the cart on the deck with a smile. He said to Qin Tian, who was standing on the deck of the Phoenix, "Ha ha ha, let's do it right away, the rice is already stewed, and it's just a matter of cooking. I used to play with this kind of trolley, but now I suddenly see it. A little nostalgic, can't hold back." Finished. He quickly ran back to the kitchen. Qin Tian was speechless upon hearing this. Guys, that's what I said. Let you be a chef in the back kitchen. No wind blows, no rain. Are you too relaxed, old boy? Recently, because of new sailors like Fang Peng and Zhuo Mingchang, he didn't need to do the work of overhauling and maintaining equipment on the deck. So Yu Dai, an old sailor who has been working for more than 20 years, has transformed into a full-time chef on a battleship. Lunch was eaten on the battleship Nemesis, when Elisa brought a group of crew members from the Phoenix to the Nemesis. Looking at the clean and tidy environment around in the cabin, feeling the cool air from the central air conditioner throughout the cabin, they were all stunned. The envy in his eyes almost turned into substance and flowed out from inside. Their God, it's so comfortable too. When they learned that the battleship is also equipped with toilets with flush toilets and bathrooms for men and women that can take a shower. Even more envious eyes are straight. Luxury. What a luxury at this time. Of course, these are just desserts before dinner. It's nothing. The real hard work is yet to come. In a clean and tidy restaurant, Elisa and the crew members on the Phoenix sat on the dining table a little awkwardly. Because Yao Ming and the others need to always be on guard against the attacks of those chosen from the Cyril family in the distance. So Qin Tian simply asked Yan Bin and the others to pack the meal. It was sent directly to the control rooms of the 2 warships and let them eat in the control room. Tang Ming, Sun Xiaoyang and Fang Peng were responsible for the reception and lively atmosphere in the restaurant. Seeing Shaw and the others a little nervous, Tang Ming came over to comfort them with a smile and said, "Don't be restrained, since you have become the captain's subordinate, then everyone will be a family from now on. Let's taste the difference between our food and yours today." I'm talking. Wen Zheng, Fang Peng, and Zuo Mingcheng brought up the dishes one by one. Amethyst rice, potato stewed canglong king meat, beans stir-fried shredded pork, barbecue black turtle king meat skewers. When Elisa and the others saw this delicious three-course meal, eyes are staring straight. Smell the delicious food aroma. Hungry saliva began to secrete in their mouths. "Don, do you usually eat these?" Elisa asked Tang Ming in disbelief. "We searched for supplies together several times before. The names of the crew members of the two battleships are almost familiar. Especially Tang Ming and Sun Xiaoyang, the two logistics personnel who can synthesize materials. Needless to say, they are all subordinates that Qin Tian pays more attention to. So there are more foreign sailors who remember their names. Roughly the same." Facing Elisa's inquiry, Tang Ming nodded and said, "Anyway, this is our daily routine. Hear this." Zero asked for flowers. The eyes of all the foreign crew members turned red with envy. They are all human beings, and they are also crew members who do logistical coolies. How is this difference so big? God's chosen people like Elisa and those combat crews are better off on the aircraft carrier of the Phoenix. At least I don't have to worry about water every day. I eat barbecued meat or some fruits with seasoning. And those logistics sailors who can only sell labor are very hard. Doing the dirtiest and most tiring work every day, and then eating fishy and half-cooked grilled fish without any seasoning. This accumulated over time. They were almost throwing up at the smell of grilled fish now. And look at the food eaten by the sailors on the battleship Nemesis. Fragrant purple rice, meat and vegetables, one smells the mouth-watering, very appetizing and delicious barbecue. This gap is no longer one sky and one earth. Zero. But one is in heaven, and the other is in a toilet in a slum. Why don't you eat it? And at this moment, Qin Tian came back after washing his hands in the bathroom. Seeing the Phoenix, the group of foreign sailors all sat there in a daze. Qin Tian asked curiously. Elisa saw Qin Tian come back. Biting his lips, he immediately told Qin Tian and the others about the situation of the fellow crew members around him, including the sea. Everyone couldn't help shaking their heads when they heard this. He thought that he and Yao Lang had a miserable life on the previous battleship. The result is now a listen. It turns out that there are sailors who have suffered worse than them. For a moment, everyone looked at the foreign crew of the Phoenix in front of the three dining tables with pity. Okay, the past is over, and your new life has just begun. Hear Elisa's words. What Qin Tian couldn't help but felt happy. It's okay to be abused. He didn't expect that. In less than a day, an excellent opportunity to increase his favorability appeared in front of him. Raise the favorability of the crew. Not to mention dispatching tasks to them, they will work harder and get twice the result with half the effort. Just the ease of use, and the benefits of title interface, having a certain amount of favorability, and unlocking the title after a certain level is enough to make people excited. 63%. Chapter 316 Delicious Enough to Cry, Rui's fighter debut. And Qin Tian has one of the biggest advantages. That is, he doesn't have to be like those gods chosen who lack water and food. While thinking about getting as many crew members as possible to increase the strength and flexibility of his battleship. On the one hand, we need to cut down on food and clothing. Let all your crew members barely eat and drink well to make ends meet. And Qin Tian has abundant food and sufficient water resources in his hands. There is absolutely no need to pick and search to detain these crew members under his command. As the saying goes, when wealth gathers, people disperse, and when wealth disperses, people gather. For these crew members who do not have enough to eat every day, Qin Tian didn't even need to go out of his way to paint big cakes. There is only one thing to do. Show your food and water and you're done. After demonstrating their strong material strength, let them eat and drink well. How safe is the favorability of this wave of crew? Then, the big, 610, speaker Qin Tian went online again. With a firm and confident look, he said, "Don't worry, from now on your Phoenix S catering standards will follow the Nemesis S catering standards. You can eat whatever we eat. I will never let any of the crew members under me. I don't have enough to eat, and I don't have warm clothes to work hard and desperately for me." Hearing Qin Tian's words, the crew members on the Phoenix immediately widened their eyes. What did the young captain in front of him say? In the future, their meal standards will be in accordance with the meal standards of the Nemesis. Nemesis, what do they eat? What do they eat? Oh, by karma. Does happiness come so suddenly? For a while, all these foreign crew members looked at each other in blank dismay. Some wondered if they had heard it wrong. After all, the scene of Qin Tian using the Desert Eagle to open a few people without blinking an eye is still vivid in his memory. They couldn't believe that such a ruthless young captain would have such a considerate and kind side. Don't worry, since the captain has said everything, it must be true. Don't look at our captain's aggressive actions, but they are all against the enemy and his own people. The captain is still very gentle, considerate and caring for his subordinates. As long as if you don't have two minds and don't do things that harm everyone's interests, then the captain will definitely not let you sweat and cry in vain. Hear this. The crew members on the Phoenix were obviously moved by what they said. The hidden look at the meeting. If you can really eat this kind of food every day. So what if you sell them? Okay, let's eat quickly, or the food will be cold. Following Qin Tian's voice fell. Tang Ming and the others couldn't wait, so they took the bowl and started to eat. And those crew members on the Phoenix saw that everyone started to eat, and they couldn't bear it immediately. He buried his head and started cooking. Only the first bite. All the foreign crew members including Elisa were shocked. All that remains is the subconscious instinct to chew the food in his mouth. This is too delicious. It's just that they just ate a few mouthfuls. The body is stiff. Then the whole face started to turn red. Just when they panicked. When he thought that this ruthless young captain was planning to poison them to death. I heard the other party say lightly, "Don't worry, this is a normal reaction to eating king-level sea beast meat. This is strengthening your body. Eat a few more times, and after a while, your physical fitness will be strengthened a lot." Tang Ming also explained with a smile on the side. The captain is right. The reason why we push more materials than you is because our bodies have been strengthened by this king-level sea beast meat many times. This kind of meat is very precious. How many God-chosen can't eat it, but our captain often brings it out for us to eat. Hearing Tang Ming's words, combined with the occasional scraps of conversation they could hear from those combat crews, they quickly understood that the young captain was really doing it for their own good. Then, a miraculous scene appeared. In the restaurant, Qin Tian and the others were eating, while watching the people on the Phoenix eating and crying. At the same time, Bill Level D asks to join, "Do you agree?" Johnny Level E asks to join, "Do you agree?" In Qin Tian's mind from time to time. In short, the meal came down. Without exception, all of these people have chosen to officially join Qin Tian's fleet, and their loyalty is like riding a rocket. The whoosh whoosh all jumped to more than 85. Qin Tian believed it. Just tonight plus tomorrow morning. Let them have another 2 big meals. It is estimated that many of these new crew members will give up on him. And this also opened a door to a new world for Qin Tian. His plane map is unable to detect crew members below B-level talent. But he can grab it. Just like Brand, the former captain of the Phoenix. There are too many gods chosen who distinguish between their own crew members. At that time, I will capture more battleships or aircraft carriers. Wouldn't the number of low-level talented crew members dedicated to work slowly increase? I'm really too smart. Qin Tian secretly gave himself a thumbs up. Eat and drink enough. Rest until afternoon. All crew members continue to work. And Qin Tian called Rui to the Phoenix. "Captain, you." Just when Rui was puzzled. As a result, the eyes glanced again. In an instant, he saw the Genesis 31 stealth fighter in the security position on the edge of the deck not far away. Rui's eyes lit up immediately. A little uncertain. "Captain, that fighter jet is specially prepared for you. How about it? Do you want to drive it up for a couple of laps?" Qin Tian didn't whet his appetite either. He said bluntly. As for asking the other party if they like it or not, Qin Tian said that he didn't want to humiliate himself yet. It's no wonder that an ace mechanic who operates armor outside the atmosphere can see such a carrier-based fighter. Although it is Genesis level. But that's also very different. It's nothing more than temporarily driving it to relieve boredom. 4.5. Good. And heard Qin Tian's words. There was also a touch of excitement on Rui's face. It is finally possible to go to heaven. These 2 months. He was really going crazy. He is a majestic soaring in the sky. The ace mechanic who once killed the space forces of the 3 major cosmic civilizations in outer space. Last month, he could only stare blankly on the battleship and eat ashes. This month is better. At least I took the initiative to fight for it. Sitting on that naval gun and shooting anti-aircraft guns during battles relieves boredom. And now, he finally waited for a fighter to appear. He is an ace mechanic. Finally, I can once again experience the pleasure of soaring in the sky, disregarding the heroes, and dominating the entire world of warships. 63%. Chapter 317. Clear the sea area and visit the island. How about it? Do you need to wait for the crew on the aircraft carrier to come back, and then let them arrange it on the deck? Seeing that Rui's heart was obviously moved, Qin Tian asked. No need. Anyway, it's a ski jump takeoff with an upturned inclined board, which is trivial to me. Rui said confidently. Qin Tian also gave him a thumbs up when he heard the words. Then he reminded him, be careful when you fly out to test your hands. I haven't found high-quality air-to-ship missiles and air-to-air missiles yet, so this fighter is still weak in these two aspects, and it is only the damage of an aviation cannon. Good. Rui Wenyan nodded to him. Then he walked to the Genesis 31 stealth fighter. Locate the hatch handle from the outside. With the press, the fighter's electric hatch slowly flipped back. Ray didn't even need a run up. Just push hard with your toes. The whole person easily jumped into the 5-meter-high fighter cabin. And the opponent is worthy of being the ace mechanic of the Chengxing Empire in the last era. Just fumbled around for a while. I have almost figured out the control method of the -31 Stealth 06 fighter. With the engine humming, the hatch resets. The J-31 stealth fighter slowly drove out of the security zone. Then under Qin Tian's fearful gaze, Rui easily controlled the fighter plane and rushed out along the runway. At the end of the deck, with the help of the upturned sloping board, the stealth fighter flew into the sky lightly. And the scene of the fighter plane going to the sky is undoubtedly conspicuous. Li Yao and the others stood on the island and looked up at the white J-31 stealth fighter soaring into the sky. Yan Bin said with some emotion, the speed of the captain's development is really amazing. We have our own fighter jets in this way. I am afraid that it will not be long before we no longer have to worry about the enemy's fighter jet formations attacking us. Zhang Zhengyi said with a smile, because Master Rui will lead our fighter formation to wipe out the enemy's fighter jets on the way. And Rui's side is after flying the fighter into the sky. First, he did a few high-speed climbs and dives in the sky in an anti-human manner, then performed a dozen laps of the roller maneuver, and then did a cobra maneuver and turned very easily. After showing off this operation, only then did the opponent control the fighter plane and quickly disappeared into the sky. Qin Tian looked at this scene and smiled. Then he returned to his goddess of Nemesis. Went down to the cabin to get 3,000 caddies of amethyst rice and traded it to Zhang Zongjun. General Zhang, this is the amethyst rice I cultivated. You can eat the 3,000 caddies first. Thank you very much for the shield recovery scroll that you traded for me. Oh, amethyst rice. Is this a new variety of rice? Zhang Zongjun quickly replied with a message and asked. Yes, new varieties. Long-term consumption can also play a role in strengthening the body. Qin Tian replied. That's not bad, take good care of it. Zhang Zongjun was also a little happy and continued to send messages. Generally, even if ordinary soil or land breeds a new variety, at most it can only improve the taste, which is not of much practical value, but yours actually has the effect of strengthening the body, which proves that the variety you cultivated is very valuable. Little Qin, if you cultivate this amethyst rice again, you may be able to cultivate an advanced version of rice with better efficacy. See each other's information. Qin Tian replied with a smile. Okay, General Zhang, I will. Okay, then I won't be polite to you about these rice. We will buy it from you when it's ready to eat. Finished. He agreed to Qin Tian's deal. The other party never mentioned the matter of asking Qin Tian to return the shield recovery scroll. There are those who are favored by God to watch. From the state of blood recovery, those military masters must also know that Qin Tian did not use the shield recovery scroll. But in Zhang Zongjun's opinion, not used is better. Then it proves that there will be a crisis next time. With this scroll, there is a high probability that Qin Tian can save himself from danger again. Because he knew that this kind of treasure should only be used by Qin Tian to maximize the benefits. Replace them. No matter who it is, the value of that scroll will be wasted. And at this moment, Qin Tian suddenly opened his data backpack as if he had a feeling in his heart. I saw that the high-quality metal pieces inside were consumed by 1,000 units. He shrugged. I don't know which unlucky guy was eliminated by Rui as a training target. After a second of silence, Qin Tian immediately returned to the deck. For the rest of the time, his crew continued to synthesize high-quality materials from the materials on the island bit by bit like ants moving their house, and move them to the battleship of the Nemesis. And Rui drove the J-31 stealth fighter, and from time to time practiced with the nearby Cyril family warships. In just one afternoon, he sank more than 100 warships. The remaining warships of the Cyril family who were so frightened have no courage to stay here anymore. All packed up and ran away. Wait until dinner time. Within 100 kilometers of their Fang Yuan, there was already not a single warship of the Cyril family. This also greatly relieved the pressure on Yao Lang and Zula. One person can be on duty at night. The rest went to the restaurant to eat. And there is Yao Lang, the main force of the active atmosphere. Elisa and her foreign crew members of the Phoenix also began to get acquainted with everyone, occasionally chatting with Tang Ming and the others. Yao Lang even told some deeds of 507 that Qin Tian had done before as stories. It also made Qin Tian's image gradually full in the hearts of the crew of the Phoenix aircraft carrier. He was no longer the simple cold-blooded captain who carried the Desert Eagle and opened other people's heads without blinking an eye. Then, when the meal is finished in the evening, Qin Tian has already received more than a dozen loyal reminders from the crew of the Phoenix. Nothing to say all night. Early the next morning. Asked about Zula. After learning that Fang Yuan was more than 100 nautical miles away, there was no second warship. Qin Tian couldn't stay on the battleship anymore. Tell Zula and Yao Lang. If there are special circumstances, the cannon will be fired as a warning. Qin Tian directly took Elisa to the island under the protection of Li Yao and her two little followers. It can be seen from the degree of coverage of the plants on the island. The island of the Cyril family seems to be much more fertile and rich than the family islands of Tianshu Island and Manston. And it was on Tianshu Island back then, although Qin Tian didn't wander around much. But after all, it is a military island under militarized management. Many places are strictly guarded forbidden areas. Even he is embarrassed to make a request to visit those places. Therefore, Qin Tian still doesn't know what the portal connecting world of warships looks like. 63%. Chapter 318. Occupy the island for a day and reunite with his wife and daughter. Elisa, do you know where the portal to the island of the Cyril family is? Qin Tian looked at Elisa beside him and asked with some expectation. I know. Elisa nodded, and said with a natural look, it's in the backyard of the villa where David Sorel lives. Take me there. Qin Tian's eyes lit up when he heard it, and he said in an unquestionable tone. Can. Elisa didn't care when she heard the words, she agreed and led the way. Soon they brought Qin Tian and the others to an astonishing villa. Yes, it is the villa, a luxurious villa with an area of 400 to 500 square meters. There are not only well-equipped European-style villas in it. There is also a clean and clear super-large swimming pool in the yard. Elisa said to Qin Tian and the others. This S-level villa blueprint was opened by an ordinary god chosen from the sea area more than 40 kilometers away 2 months ago. After contributing to David, the medium-sized frigate of the Chosen One was directly upgraded to a small cruiser, and I don't know how many people died of envy. Quote. Qin Tian smacked his lips enviously after hearing this villa. S-class villas. The odds of opening a house of this level are almost as good as the odds of a god-chosen awakening an S-level talent. All in all, it's pretty small. But envy is useless. Once this kind of housing blueprint is used, it can no longer be moved or recycled. Under the leadership of Elisa, the three came to a garage while admiring the scenery in the courtyard of the villa. Qin Tian turned his head to look at Elisa. The other party shrugged, spread his hands and said, look at what I am doing. The portal is on the side of Curry. In Brand's words, if there is heavy rain or severe cold, it will come from this world. Those who are favored by the gods don't need to be exposed to that rain and suffer from that. Qin Tian listened. Understood. It proves that this garage is directly connected to the main building of this villa. But it has nothing to do with him. Anyway, he won't occupy an island so quickly, and then strictly guard it here. The reason why he came here to get this teleportation array now. Purely because he wanted his wife and daughter to come in for a day. Anyway, if you occupy the island, you can give it up at any time. Press the electric button on the wall. The electric roller shutter door of the garage goes up automatically. Then a tall foot is more than 2 meters long. A portal similar to the image of the portal that appeared when going to fight the world boss appeared in front of everyone. Qin Tian walked over and looked up and down. Although he can't intuitively feel some of the energy in it like in fantasy novels. But it's getting closer. He could indeed feel a kind of attraction from that vortex that seemed to tear his soul away. After feeling nothing special, Qin Tian immediately looked at the side door of Che Curry. He led a few people in through the side door. In front of you is a porch covered with murals. About 5 or 6 meters long. Out of the entrance is a luxurious and elegantly decorated hall of more than 200 square meters. There are sofas and coffee tables. It is completely worthy of this S-class villa level. Alyssa, do you know where the island monument is hidden? Qin Tian looked at the Diang girl beside him and asked. Ah, God Qin, are you going to occupy this island? Hear Qin Tian's words, Alyssa said in astonishment. But it seems that now is not the best time to occupy the island, right? Once the major forces of the Eurasian Federation jointly attack and guard an island, we will have no chance of winning. Now the coordinates of this Cyril Island have been completely exposed. Although Qin Tian has a powerful battleship and an aircraft carrier. But even if it was her, a god-chosen one with ordinary knowledge. I also know that occupying this island now is playing with fire and setting myself on fire. And the people in the live broadcast room were also confused by Qin Tian's operation at this time. I'm going. What is God Qin trying to do? Occupying this island whose coordinates have already been exposed, wouldn't that be a living target for others? It shouldn't be. Qin Shen is such a smart mind, shouldn't even be able to see the advantages and disadvantages of this. I'm really tied to Q. God Qin, don't be stupid, occupying the island now, it will affect your speed of drawing your sword, not to mention, when you spend resources to build the island, you will be beaten and run away by the crowd of the Eurasian Federation, that would be a real loss to the wife and the loss of the army. Everyone in the live broadcast room is dissuading. Even Mu Ningxie frowned slightly. She also felt that now was not the best time to occupy the island. Not to mention the consumption of resources for construction. It's just that what Qin Tian said next instantly dispelled their worries. I know, don't worry, I plan to occupy one day and let my wife and daughter come to this island to gather with me, and the master will let them bring some food back home. Hear Qin Tian's words, Elisa suddenly realized. Everyone in the live broadcast room also understood. Many girls envied. Qin Shen is really too warm, thinking about his wife and daughter all the time. Ah, does Qin Shendu have a daughter? But I don't mind, if possible, I also want to give Qin Shen a child, and then I don't need Qin Shen to be responsible, I will raise the child myself. Hiss, the sisters upstairs are true love. There is a mine at home, or what? How dare you take care of your own children in this day and age? Hee hee, it's not that exaggerated, I just have some money, so I opened my own security company. Domineering, women don't let their eyebrows go. Some women in the live broadcast room popped up one after another and chatted enthusiastically. But Mu Ningxie couldn't care less about it. Get dressed. Out of the villa. He drove his own SUV in 3s, 5s and 2s, and drove towards the kindergarten with one kick of the accelerator. If Qin Tian planned to let them go in for a day of gathering today, then she must bring her daughter with her. On the way, she called Li Changxi, her daughter Qin Xiaoxiao's class teacher and now her best friend. After talking about things, Li Changxi readily agreed. After more than 4 months, the husband finally took a chance by Leela to spend a day with his wife and daughter. Then she must not be able to stop it. So Mu Ningxie received Qin Xiaoxiao very smoothly. With the cheering daughter, I quickly returned home and waited obediently. At this moment, Qin Tian had arrived in the basement of the villa under Elise's reminder. Sure enough, it was in the middle of the basement. I saw the island tablet covered with a golden mask with a diameter of more than 2 meters. As long as the chosen one enters the golden mask, touch the island tablet with your hand for a minute. The island will change hands immediately. Qin Tian didn't hesitate at all. Go straight over and stand in the golden mask. He reached out and touched the island monument. Ding! The island of Cyril is being occupied. During the occupation, please do not leave the golden mask for 1 minute. Leaving is considered a failure. Failure will have a 24-hour cooldown period. Hear the voice of the planets will to buy. Qin Tian touched the island monument but didn't move at all. 63%. Chapter 319 I just want to taste the taste of ice cream and purple rice. That's it. A minute later. The reminder of the will of the planet resounded in his mind again. Ding! Congratulations on successfully occupying Cyril Island. Hear the voice of the will of the planet. Qin Tian immediately felt that he had a very magical perception of the island under his feet. It's as if he can perceive that in the forest in the middle of this island. Mountains and water. There are also many kinds of animals that make him feel excited. For example, wild animals such as pheasants, wild ducks, pigs, cattle, sheep and deer. This surprised Qin Tian very much. Coincidentally, he has a epic level large-scale breeding ecological cabin blueprint in his hand. At that time, catch some of these poultry and livestock cubs and bring them to the battleship to breed. Doesn't that mean that he won't have to worry about such delicacies as big plate chicken, roasted whole duck, kebabs and fried beef and sheep hot pot? But the only pity is that there is no seasoning. Even this insignificant condiment has been almost completely discontinued in this world. There are also a few. It is difficult for ordinary people to get it. I can only wait to open the box to get out the big gift package of shabu shabu. But it's okay if you don't shabu shabu. Kebabs are fine too. After all, the Genesis level planting cabin can mutate 750 crops. Then these chickens, ducks, pigs, cattle and sheep should be fine in the Genesis level breeding cabin. It's time to get some better quality mutant chicken, duck, pig, beef, and mutton. From then on, just kebabs, roast chicken, and roast duck are fine. After all, we are born human. Although dreams and ideals are very important. But people depend on food. You can't treat yourself badly when eating this. But when he thought about it, he would be able to see his wife and daughter immediately. Qin Tian couldn't care about those chickens, ducks and sheep anymore. He raised his head and looked at the island monument in front of him. A line of information immediately appeared in my mind. Item. Level 2 Island Monument. Life. 2,050,000. 20,000. Introduction. The core of the island, if you control it, you control the entire island. 2 million lives. 20,000 defenses. Bull batch. Qin Tian secretly gestured a thumbs up. Then he left the basement. Striding back to the car curry. Come again to the portal full of deep and chaotic light. Get closer this time. Sure enough, information also appeared in Qin Tian's mind. Item. Level 2 Interstellar Portal. Life. 2 million. Defense. 20,000. Efficacy. You can bind the 5 God-chosen who belong to your own sphere of influence, and reset at the beginning of each month can be opened. Introduction. A portal that can span time and space, allowing the favored person bound by the chosen one to come to this world, and only stays for 1 day a month. The higher the level of the portal, the longer the favored person stays. Long. When Qin Tian saw the following sentence, his eyes lit up immediately. It turns out that the island monument on the island and the interstellar portal have levels. The higher the level, the longer the favored one can stay in World of Warships. I don't know how long the steel in the interstellar portal of the God-level treasure island can stay. Qin Tian felt a little hopeful. Hey, are you finally going to see the appearance of my goddess Mu? Hurry up, let me see too, that is my idol. It is simply a legend to span the entire Yanlong Empire with one's own power and kill all the strongholds that the Dark World has set up in our Yanlong Empire. I heard that 2 founders of the Dark World have been kicked out. The reason seems to be that at the beginning, one of the founders planned to spend a lot of money to reconcile with Goddess Mu, but was rejected by those 2 founders. Resolutely oppose it, and as a result, the Dark World will be completely wiped out in our stronghold of the Yanlong Empire, hehe. However, to be honest, I really admire Qin Shen's wife. Her daughter was attacked, and as a mother, she directly attacked her. It can only be said that a woman is weak at heart, but a mother is strong. All the strongholds in the world were investigated and destroyed by Goddess Mu herself. Weekly ask, Big Brothers AGCD, what is the Dark World you are talking about? Children don't study hard, why ask so much, don't you know that curiosity killed the cat? HMPH, if I have a man as high quality as Qin Shen is my backing, I can do it too. There is a lot of excitement in the Time-Space live broadcast room. And in World of Warships. Putting aside those miscellaneous thoughts in his heart, Qin Tian immediately set his sights on openable behind the function of the interstellar portal. Enable as selected directly. The captain please choose the favored person to be summoned. Mu Ningxie, Qin Xiaoxiao. Without further ado, Qin Tian chose both. And as he made his choice, in this world, a portal appeared out of thin air immediately beside Mu Ningxie and Qin Xiaoxiao. Mom, is this the portal opened by Say? Qin Xiaoxiao stared at her beautiful big eyes. Looking at the portal full of profundity and chaos, he asked with some fear on his face. Yes, as long as we walk in, we can see Dad soon, let's go, Mom is holding your hand. Mu Ningxie gently stroked her daughter's soft hair. Then he took the latter's tender little hand. He stepped into the portal one step at a time. Villa's car curry. just when Qin Tian was full of anticipation and nervousness, waiting for the whole year. The chaotic black clouds in the interstellar portal suddenly began to surge violently. Then follow. One big and one small, two big and small beauties wrapped in golden light appeared in front of Qin Tian's eyes. Looking at the mother and daughter who have completely changed their appearance. Qin Tian's face that was originally full of fortitude and coldness instantly turned into soft fingers. Dad. Qin Xiaoxiao saw Qin Tian. Immediately let go of Mu Ningshui's hand. He rushed into Qin Tian's arms. Dad, I miss you so much, woo woo. The little girl burst into tears after she finished speaking. Qin Tian stroked his daughter's hair that had finally become soft and thick, and said, Daddy misses you too, isn't this just seeing Daddy? But, we can only see each other once a month, and besides, if you want to eat delicious food next time, you have to wait until next month. The little girl wiped her tears and said sadly. This answer made Qin Tian dumbfounded in an instant. Greedy cat, you came here with you mainly for food, and it seems that Dad is just a piggyback. No, how is it possible? I miss my dad. If you don't believe me, ask your mom. I want to cry at night. Hearing Qin Tian's words, Qin Xiaoxiao immediately became unhappy. Pouting his mouth, he argued righteously. Ha ha ha. This made Qin Tian couldn't help laughing. Then he hugged the little girl and walked in front of Mu Ningxue. Looking at the other party's glamorous face with tears rolling in his eyes. Qin Tian grabbed the other's slender hands and said, Thank you, Xiaoshui. 63%. Chapter 320 Mu Ningxue swallowed, the taste of ice cream. Finished. Qin Tian pulled Mu Ningxue over. She hugged her into her arms like no one else was around, and said softly, Ningxue, I did it, as I said, I will not only cure you in your little illness, but also make you the most enviable girl in the world. God's favored one. That's right, Dad is the most powerful dad in the world. Dad, why don't you? After Qin Xiaoxiao raised her arms and cheered, she smacked Qin Tian's cheek with a ba ji. This mouthful almost made Qin Tianli's mouth shut, full of happiness. Little boy, did you listen to your mother at home? Qin Tian asked with a smile. Of course I did. I even helped my mother with the housework. Qin Xiaoxiao said like a little adult. Xiaoxiao is so good. Xiaoxiao is also the most well-behaved and sensible daughter in the world. Qin Tian's heart almost melted. This is the blood that I have left in this world. It is the love crystallization of Mu Ningxue. I have survived for more than 3 years and 4 months in World of Warships, a world that faces danger at any time. The reason why he has not become insensitive and sinful is because he insists on the responsibility of his wife and daughter in his heart. Mu Ningxue raised her head after hearing Qin Tian's words. Seeing Qin Tian bursting into tears, he said with a smile, You father and daughter, Tian, you don't even know how popular your daughter is at school. Almost all the boys in the class are rushing to sit with your daughter table. It gave Changxi, their homeroom teacher, a headache, and I have come to complain to me several times. Qin Tian was a little alert when he heard this and said, Then what? Their teacher can't really let a boy sit next to our daughter, right? Mu Ningxue gave her man a white look, shook her head and said, No, Chengxi arranged for Xiaoxiao to be at the same table as a girl. Ha, that's good. Qin Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Behind, Elisa looked at this happy family of 3 with envy in her eyes. Li Yao and her 2 followers were also full of surprises. And in the live broadcast room, a group of people watched the gossip fire blazing. Wow, it's so sweet. God Qin's daughter is so cute and cute. Oh my God, this woman is so beautiful. I thought Miss Cecily was the most beautiful woman in the world. It turns out that there is a woman more beautiful than her in the Far East. Have any of you noticed God Qin looking at Goddess Mu's eyes? There is light in them, full of love. I'm so envious. My husband got involved with a goddess chosen within a few months after becoming God's chosen, which made me unable to even lift my head in front of my family and friends. 1. Hee, I was just afraid of this kind of situation, so I found another good friend outside in advance, no matter how romantic that dead ghost is inside. Anyway, with the strength of that dead ghost, it is impossible to take it easily like God Qin. On the next island, build a portal. Qin Tian naturally didn't know that the dog food that his family of 3 sprinkled fed countless people in the live broadcast room. After spending a while with his wife and daughter who had been reunited after a long absence. Qin Tian held his daughter in one hand and his wife's slender waist in the other, and came in front of Alyssa and Li Yao. After introducing the 2 parties to each other, Qin Tian then led them back to the goddess of Nemesis. It was the first time in Mu Ningxie and Qin Xiaoxiao's life that they saw the sea and the huge battleships lined with guns. Especially the little girl. He was full of novelty about everything on the Nemesis, and he fumbled here and there on the deck, looking like a little hamster. Seeing the sun rise high, the time should have come to acid. Qin Tian looked at Mu Ningxie and asked, Ningxie, have you all had breakfast this morning? Eat it, what's the matter? Mu Ningxie asked curiously. Hearing his wife's words, Qin Tian smiled and said, it's nothing. After occupying this island, I feel that there are many pheasants, wild ducks, and some pigs and cattle in the middle of this island. I'm going to take you on a hunt today. Get some chicken, duck, pork, beef, and mutton, and bring them back for Lao Yu to make a big plate of chicken, roast duck, and some big meals like lamb kebabs and grilled steaks for you and your daughter to satisfy your cravings. Quote. I heard Qin Tian name several tough dishes in a row. Mu Ningxie swallowed secretly without holding back for a moment. She hasn't eaten these delicious foods since the alien invasion. Once upon a time, she also has a physique that other women envy and can't get fat no matter how much she eats. I often hang out with Qin Tian in the food court on weekends. Enjoy the beautiful world of two carefree. But the invasion of alien creatures broke all this. The severe nuclear radiation not only destroyed her perfect appearance, but also almost destroyed her heart. Zero ask for flowers. If it weren't for Qin Tian's meticulous care and persistent encouragement, I'm afraid she couldn't hold on long ago and broke up by herself. Every time I think of it, her heart will be filled with great happiness. Pretending not to see Mu Ningxie swallowing her saliva, Qin Tian continued, it just so happens that the scenery of the Cyril family island is quite good in the world of warships. Xiao Xiao must have never experienced it in person. We happened to take her to have a good time sightseeing. It is right to be close to nature as a tourist. Listen to you. For Qin Tian's suggestion, Mu Ningxie nodded in agreement. Don't talk about your own daughter. Even she, who has lived in peaceful times for more than 10 years, has almost forgotten the beauty of nature when traveling. Seeing Mu Ningxie nodding, Qin Tian immediately said, then you watch Xiao Xiao here first. Don't let her fall. I will go back to the lounge to get some ice cream. Finished. Qin Tian returned to his rest cabin. I took a wooden basket and put a few bottles of freezing water in it. Then I took a dozen bags of ice cream and put them in. Then I went to the warehouse to find some large rags and covered it. After finishing these, Qin Tian quickly carried the wooden basket to the deck. Dad, Mom said you went to fetch ice cream, is it true? What does ice cream taste like? Qin Tian just came up. The little girl immediately ran over and looked at him eagerly. Qin Tian couldn't help laughing. He turned to look at his wife. Seeing Mu Ningxie spread her hands and shrugged her shoulders, she said, your daughter saw that you disappeared, so she insisted on looking for you, so I told her about you going to get the ice cream. Qin Tian smiled and pulled the rags covering the wooden basket aside, and said, here, the ones with packaging bags or ice creams, let's see which one you want to eat. Qin Xiaoxiao's eyes were dazzled for a while looking at the colorful packaging bags. In the end, it was very difficult to choose a chocolate from it. Qin Tian smiled and opened the packing bag for her. The little girl just took a sip lightly. Those beautiful big eyes lit up immediately. Wow, is this the taste of ice cream? It's delicious. After finishing speaking, she ran in front of Mu Ningxie. The small figure held up the ice cream, tiptoed to the ladder and said, Mom, you should try it too. It's sweet and cold, it's too delicious and. It's sweet and cold, it's too delicious and. It's sweet and